Hello and welcome to the Views from the Sidelines March Madness podcast. It's our favorite time of the year. Today I got, of course, Malik Hill with me and my brother Jordan down below, technically. Guys, how are we doing?
Doing great. Yeah, happy to be here.
How much college basketball have you guys watched this season? Be honest.
So I'd say first half of the season, I watched a little bit, but as we got closer to the second half of the season, I started to pick it up some more. And I've watched pretty much most, at least like high major games. Mm-hmm. I watched most of those and most like conference championship games. So I'm pretty up to speed on most of it.
All right. Yeah. Jordan, what's your research level been this season?
I'm actually quite the opposite of what I usually am. I watched a ton of college basketball in the beginning of the season, and I've been quite a bit behind here recently. I watched a couple games of the tournaments, and then, but other than that, haven't really been on it too much.
Okay. I'll be honest, I've gone completely nutso. I've been watching all the mid-major conferences, been watching all the conference tournaments leading up. Does that mean I'm going to have a good bracket? I don't know. But so we got the three of us today. We also have some of Sammy's takes. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here with us this year. But we got some of his takes to make sure that we're good to go. So we got the bracket down in the bottom right there of the screen, and we're going to get right into it. So, guys, UConn and Stetson.
Who wants to pick Stetson?
Is there a 16 seed in the bracket that can do it?
Jordan, I know you want to pick a big upset. Why not?
I want to pick, did you guys watch Stetson in the tournaments?
A little bit,
Their starting point guard dropped 43 in the championship.
Jalen Black. So, he looks like he could be a problem, but UConn is maybe the best team in the tournament.
Right.
So probably not. I'm going to go with UConn.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not picking Stetson.
Yeah, me neither.
I hope he has a good game, though.
Right.
Yeah, UConn, they have like the perfect balance of like young guys and experience. They've been rolling for most of the season.
And this is what Sammy had to say about UConn and Stetson.
UConn and Stetson. Do you see a 16 seed taking down UConn?
Heavens, nobody, Ross. I mean, like, I talked to first of all, let me give a special shout out to the kids at Scripps Middle School, Oakview Middle School, and Walden Middle School. I mean, they're the ones that helped me out with this bracket. So
yeah.
So I give a special shout out to all three at all three middle schools. But do I see it happening with UConn and Stetson? I'm laughing my head off.
All right.
UConn's going to win that one pretty convincing.
He's laughing his head off.
Yeah, so easy pick for Sammy. So we're going with UConn in our Views from the Sideline bracket. So that leads us to FAU and Northwestern. Interesting matchup. We got Big Ten versus a team that made the Final Four last year.
Yeah.
Where do you guys sit on this one, Malik?
So I've been a huge fan of the turnaround Northwestern has had with a program over the past few years. Mm-hmm. They went from the absolute bottom to being a consistently good program in the Big Ten, one of the best programs in the country. And I've liked them throughout this year. Boo Buie is a really good point guard. Brooks Barnheiser is a good shooter. But I don't think they're fully healthy right now. It's good that they made the tournament again. It's great for their program, but I don't see them beating FAU when they're missing a few guys. Some guys still have nagging injuries. I think FAU is too strong. Yeah, Vlad Golden, I think he's going to feast down low.
Mm-hmm. Jordan, where are you at with this one?
Since it's in the tournament, probably leaning a little more towards FAU. If Northwestern could get a home game, I know it's not possible, but Boo Buie I think he would go off in his senior year. I personally, in my own bracket, I will take Northwestern, but in this one, I'll ride with FAU.
Okay, so 2 to FAU. I'm going to go with Northwestern. There's something about FAU this year that does not have the magic that they had last year for me. I know they basically returned everybody, but and I guess you could say the same thing that happened last year, and they made the run anyway. But for me, I just think Northwestern has a really good shot, and I want to see them to go. So I think I'm going to go with my heart here instead of maybe my brain. But this one is a definite toss-up, and I just think it's the factor of Boo Buie, I think, could take over this game.
Oh,
And so I would go with Northwestern. But let's see what our friend Sammy said about this game.
Oh my goodness.
You going with the Big Ten team or the team that made the Final Four last year?
This is funny because Northwestern, they're injury riddled this year. I know they got a really good player, but you can't match up with experience. You can't match up with experience. So I know Pappas is gonna probably argue with me about this, and I know Malik's gonna argue with me about this. But dude, I'm taking FAU. I mean, Florida Atlantic's gonna move on. I don't know why. I mean, they're underseeded in my opinion here.
Okay.
So there you go. Sammy picked FAU, which means FAU is moving on in the bracket.
Sammy might be cooking this year. I like his take so far.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get to have Chris on for this episode, but hopefully he'll be in our bracket challenge when we put it up. But he didn't really give us too many of his takes, so we don't get to know exactly what Chris was thinking. But Sammy's pretty spot on with what Chris would be thinking. So FAU moves on in our bracket, and we're down to San Diego State, UAB. Does anybody see UAB pulling off the upset?
I don't see it. I don't see it. They did a really good job in the American Conference tournament. They got some guys that could go off. But these are my San Diego State Aztecs.
Forgot your San Diego State Aztecs.
Ever since they made that run with Malachi Flynn and those other guards they had, I just love the way they play. I love the defense they play. And they always have a few guys that can score. And Jaden Ledee has been that guy this year. He's averaging almost 20 and 10. He's a really high-level player. Plus, they return a few guys they had last year from their Final Four run. So I'm going San Diego State.
Jordan?
I'm going to be 100% honest here. I don't know anything about UAB this year. But San Diego State, they're always tough. I'm going to pick them just because, like I said, I know absolutely zero on UAB, so that is my bad, guys.
That's all right. I watched a little bit of their conference final. They look pretty good. They can score pretty easily. The problem here for me is that San Diego State is a team known for defense. I don't think they're as good as last year. Again, these three teams that we just talked about, San Diego State, FAU, and UConn, all were in the Final Four last year. So it's pretty interesting on this side of the bracket. I think UAB has a chance, but for bracket purposes, I think I'm going with San Diego State. Sammy had his opinion on this matchup.
Ooh, San Diego State went to the championship game last year.
Yeah.
And UAB's hot right now. So, and you know my specialty on this podcast, right? I always enjoy
12-5.
to take the 12-5.
Yeah.
So I talked to my assistant principal today, Nick Garcia. He's principal at Oakview Middle School. We're gonna talk about. I mean, there's one certain region we don't agree on, but in this one here, I'm gonna take the Blazers. I'm gonna take UAB.
Okay.
And you know, it's kind of funny here. James Spann, I think, went to school at UAB.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take UAB because of James Spann.
Can't beat that logic.
Right. Unfortunately, Sammy's logic does not line up with our logic, so San Diego State moves on. Auburn and Yale. We saw Princeton make the Sweet 16 last year. Ivy League schools are known for their shooting, their offense, but Auburn's pretty good this year. Came out strong in the SEC tournament, kind of surprised a lot of people, surprised me a little bit. Do you see Yale knocking Auburn off, Jordan?
No way.
No way, okay.
You know I'm a big Bruce Pearl guy. So.
Right. Malik, how do you feel about this one?
I felt a lot differently about these two teams at the end of the regular season. I didn't like Auburn as much. I liked Yale a lot. Yale won their conference, but they almost lost to Brown,
Yeah.
who was like the 5th seed in the Ivy League. And they didn't look that great to me in that game. And Auburn just caught fire in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
Janai Broome is a high-level big man. I like him a lot. I like their guards. And I also love Bruce Pearl teams. I love the way they play. So, yeah, I'm going Auburn.
Can't break that press.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Auburn as well. I don't see it this year. Princeton I called last year, but with Yale, Ivy League just didn't look as good this season. And and I'm going to go with Auburn. I think Auburn has a chance to do some things in the tournament. And Sammy's thought the exact same thing. He didn't even have anything to say. He just said Auburn. And so Auburn's moving on in our bracket.
Great. Love it.
Nice and easy.
Simple.
So now we're moving on to BYU Duquesne. Jordan, you had some things to say about Duquesne earlier.
If someone could please explain to me how Duquesne gets to be the 11 seed over teams like OU and other teams that won their conference championship, I just don't understand how they get the easy route. Because if you look at a lot of the 11 seeds, the 6 seeds teams are beatable for them. So I don't understand why they get to be there,
Right.
Just for winning their conference tournament. But I will go with BYU.
Yep.
Just because I don't want to see Duquesne win, because it honestly rubs me the wrong way.
That's fair. Malik, where do you see this matchup going?
I don't trust BYU.
Ooh.
Outside of the years they had Jimmer Fredette, I don't trust them that much.
You don't think
No,
them being
they had a really good first season in the Big 12. They beat Kansas in Kansas.
Started the season extremely well.
There's just something about them that I don't fully trust. I'm going Duquesne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like how they played in that A10 tournament. They were tough. Going with the upset.
Yeah, I think this one's tricky for me as well. BYU is that team. I'm normally on the same page. I just don't trust them. And they always get like a high seed. Now that they're in the Big 12, it matters a little bit more, I think, because I think the Big 12 is definitely one of, if not the best conference in college basketball. But I'm with you. Like, BYU just has a weird feeling to them. And Duquesne looked pretty good in their conference final. Their offense is pretty good. My gripe with Duquesne, Jordan, people keep bringing up LeBron's former head coach or whatever it is that's tied to Duquesne.
High school coach?
Yeah, his high school coach.
Oh, okay. That means absolutely nothing.
I know, but I'm already tired of hearing it. So in that spite, I think I'm going to lean BYU.
Oh, my God. Really the last minute switch?
I know.
Because of that?
Well, I mean, either way.
Stick with your guns. Take Duquesne. Come on.
Well, either way, we're going to have to make a tiebreaker if I take Duquesne.
Heavens no. I mean, like, because here's why. You get there first time 47 years.
Yeah.
I mean, BYU, they played in the Big 12 this year. And the Big 12, good conference.
Right.
So give me BYU over Duquesne.
Short and sweet.
All right.
So if we do that, it's a 2-2 tie, and we don't have Chris with us. So do we just take an upset? Or, Jordan, do you have too much hate against Duquesne that we should just take BYU?
It can be a good day to be a Duquesne Duke, so we could take them.
All right, let's go. Let's do
We
it.
haven't had
the
that.
first
We haven't
upset.
had. Yeah, we haven't
Let's
had
go.
an upset, so we might as well.
All right, we're taking Duquesne over BYU.
Even though this next one.
All right, Illinois Morehead State. How we feeling? Any chance for Morehead State? Let's just say that. Does anybody give them a chance?
I don't.
You really don't give them a chance?
I don't.
My only thought was possibly because I don't really trust the Big Ten this year. And I mean, who's the guy? Illinois' guy is what? Terrence Shannon. who's had
Terrence
some-
Shannon can go for over 30 any game.
He scored 100 in the Big Ten
Exactly.
tournament.
He's also
He had like 40 and 38 the past
He's also
two
had
months.
some off-court
Well,
issues.
yeah, but-
So
That has nothing to do with this right now.
They'll get back to those later.
yeah, but that could play a factor. It's going to bring a lot of noise to the team.
I don't think
Same
it's bothered
as-
him so far.
Same as who's the guy on the Hornets now. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Brandon
too.
Miller.
Yeah, Brandon Miller. Same thing.
He's had a really good rookie year, though.
But he struggled in the tournament when all the
Yeah.
noise was on him.
I guess.
Yeah,
guess.
I think a lot of people have forgotten about Terrence Shannon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He plays for Illinois.
I'll be honest, Illinois was my preseason number one. And when that stuff came out, it kind of made me a little iffy on Illinois. But I'm just kind of taking that to the backseat because we don't know where that's going to end up. And I still think Illinois is just a good team. And I don't see them losing. But do you want to have it down that
just received a text message from our father saying Illinois in all capitals.
The ultimate insider.
all right.
So we will
Illinois.
be taking Illinois.
Exactly.
And I'll just be honest.
The vote has been put in.
Sammy had nothing to say. He just said Illini. So
Yep.
Unfortunately,
Marcus Domask is also awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, Illinois' second best player.
I know who Malik's going with on this one.
On this one,
Listen, do we even have to?
is that okay? Washington State Drake.
We should be on the same page on this, Joey.
We are. We're taking Drake. We like Tucker DeVries.
Listen, man. He's a baller.
He's very talented,
I'm right there with you guys. I'm also taking Drake in this one.
which makes me terrified
Yes.
because
Washington State, they had a really good season.
but
That
they
I'm taking?
no, just that we're all taking them.
Oh, I mean-
So Washington State was a team that I was watching quite a bit towards the end of the season, and every time that I thought that they were going to get a win, they would lose. Every time I thought they were going to lose, they would win. So they're very frustrating for me. So I just feel like this is a good spot for them to win. And I don't know. Drake is starting to get too much steam that it scares me, but
They are. I saw they are now the favorite.
yes. And I can't really get past it, but here's what Sammy had to say about this matchup.
Ooh.
This is a popular pick for people to pick upsets. Drake has a lot of experience, made it in the tournament last year. Do you agree with that statement, or are you going Washington State?
I agree with the people. And this is Chris Pappas. I'm like a man of the people.
All right.
Give me Drake.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
He is a man of the people this year.
You come-
He's on point.
Yeah.
I think the reason though with Drake is everybody does want to see Tucker DeVries have big games,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that is the reason behind it.
Yep. So we're moving on.
If only
Drake.
Robbie Avila could have made the tournament.
That would have been
Man.
awesome.
Yeah. There was one team that played terribly last night that Indiana State probably could have took their spot.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Virginia, you should be ashamed. Terrible.
Yep.
I thought the NCAA would have just put him in.
All right. Iowa State, South Dakota. Anybody giving South Dakota State a chance?
I think they're going to put some fear in Iowa State.
Yeah.
Zeke Mayo is a really good player. He averages like 20 a game. Iowa State could come out maybe like a sleep. I'm not saying it's going to be an upset, but I think South Dakota State makes it close. It looks like it could be an upset, but Iowa State pulls it out in the end. I think it's closer than people think.
Okay.
I think Iowa State's just a little bit too good, but
Yep. I'm right there. Right there with you.
You probably jinxed them. I hope you know that.
I probably did.
You probably jinxed them.
I'm not.
They might not make the Sweet 16 because
I don't
of
doubt
you,
it.
Joey.
And I accidentally bumped the screen, but this should be Sammy's take.
This one's gonna be a fun one there. Summit League going up against the Big 12. When I look at South Dakota State, I mean, you think of 3-point shooting, you think of, but when I watched the Summit League championship game against Denver, and South Dakota State almost gave that game away.
Yeah.
Iowa State's red hot right now.
Mm-hmm. Tough defensively.
Tough defensively. They just destroyed Houston. Give me the Cyclones. They should have been number 1 seed, in my opinion. I think I would have picked them over Houston. So give me Iowa State.
All right.
Okay, he's starting to lose me a little bit now.
There we go. That's Sammy's opinion, and his opinion counts.
It does. We'll get to Houston.
All right, moving on to the west side of the bracket. North Carolina now confirmed to be taking on Wagner.
Just pick. Let's just move on from that.
Armando Baycott.
Do we need to have
too much.
What are your Wagner takes, Joey?
I mean, they looked pretty good last night.
If that game was close.
I thought
That was a
Howard
very
was
close game.
going to win that game, but
Yeah.
they didn't. No, I can't take Wagner. I think North Carolina is gonna steamroll. And Sammy had nothing to say about it, so that's how we know. All right, this is a very contentious one for a lot of people. Mississippi State, Michigan State. Before anybody starts, we're gonna let our resident Michigan State Slappy take the stage.
Of course.
All right. Here we go. Mississippi State with your Spartans. They made it in.
Yeah, I was very happy. I'll be honest with you. I was sweating it. I mean, I know that Malik and Chris are going to be going like, ooh, Sammy had to be nervous and all that. Sammy, they're right. Sammy had to be nervous because I was nervous. And you know what? They're in. They're here. Tough matchup, though, Mississippi State.
Yep.
I know Mississippi State's got the advantage in the stats,
Mm-hmm.
but Michigan State's been here before. Went to Sweet 16 last year, basically the same team. So, give me victory for MSU, which is Sparty.
All righty. Spartans moving on.
Yep.
All right, you heard
No
it here
surprises.
first. Yeah,
No surprises.
No surprises. They get a 9-8 matchup, and he takes Michigan State. Jordan, you've been big on Michigan State the last few years. How you feeling about them this year?
I'll start out with January, February, Izzo, April.
Oh my God.
No,
say,
I will be taking Michigan State in this, just as I would like to see them at least get out of the first round. I don't believe Michigan State is a very good team this year.
Yeah.
AJ Hoggard is not the player that he should be. I don't know why.
We've talked about the lack of development in that program for some years now.
It doesn't make sense to me. They're still playing Sissoko a lot of minutes, who sometimes
It's a touchy subject for me and Malik.
just sometimes feel they've been flipping a lot of different runs, groups of guys, different lineups.
Yep.
So they haven't really found one. It's really going to be, like I said, it is Tyson Walker. If he plays good, yes, they'll win. If he plays bad, they don't have anyone to score the ball. They're going to get blown out. But I will be taking Michigan State.
Malik, where are we at?
Quick over-under real quick before I pick. Minutes played for Xavier Booker, 10 minutes under or 10 minutes over?
It better be over.
We saw what happened with Jaren Jackson when Ben Carter became a legend that day against Syracuse.
It's very true.
But when it comes to the pick, listen, man, Mississippi State has two bigs that can destroy them down low. Tolu Smith and Jimmy Bell. Jimmy Bell, who's from Michigan, they both can score down low. And they also have a freshman guard, who can go toe-to-toe with Tyson Walker. Josh Hubbard can get buckets. I mean, when he gets hot, he can go for 30, just like Tyson Walker.
Right.
So I got to go Mississippi State in this one. They're better to me as a team at this point in the season.
Okay. I got to go Michigan State. I think it's going to be tough. And the matchup makes me nervous because Mississippi State played really well down the stretch. But I just got to believe Michigan State's got to figure it out, because it's going to be embarrassing if they don't, in my opinion.
And the NCAA hooked them up with possibly the best 8 or 9 spot they could be. They shouldn't even be in the tournament, let alone, but they gave them a much better run at it than, say, Northwestern or Nebraska.
They should have had a play-in spot as like a 10 seed.
They should have been.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. I'm kind of confused, but
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works.
I'll root for them.
But Michigan State, man, I just hope they win. Well, actually, you know, the way that we talked about it throughout the season, like, part of me wishes they would lose so that they would get, like, that learning situation of, like, finally Michigan State fans, I think, are starting to realize where I've been, even though I've been so critical of them. But at the end of the day, I still want them to win. Like, I don't want them to, like, go out like that and have just an awful season. And a Michigan State UNC matchup would be a lot of fun. So
I think AJ Hoggard has to play well for them to win this game.
He has to. He has to score the basketball.
we know how I feel about AJ Hoggard.
Yeah. And I don't know how much fun it would be if they played North Carolina, if we're being honest.
I don't know.
That's not a real gift for them in the second round. No. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We shall see.
Sorry, I'm texting my boss about something that happened earlier today. Setting up for this show. But
Oh, okay.
all right, moving on to St. Mary's Grand Canyon. This is becoming somewhat of a popular upset.
It's a fun West Coast matchup.
Does anybody feel like they could take Grand Canyon?
I'm going with St. Mary's. I trust Aiden Mahaney. I trust that European talent they bring in at St. Mary's.
Augustus.
And they only lost like one game in league this year. They were better than Gonzaga. They just took care of business all season long. And then they won the conference tournament, beating Gonzaga again. I think they're ready for this, and they're battle tested. Now, Grand Canyon is a tough team. They didn't have much problems winning their league. They kind of dominated. But, yeah, I trust St. Mary's to win in the first round.
I'm taking St. Mary's also. They started the season super good when I was watching a ton of college basketball. They were the team I had watched a little bit more than others. Like I said, Augustus, I don't know how to pronounce his last
Is it
name.
Marcellonis?
Yeah,
I
his
believe.
son of,
Yeah.
yep.
Sarunas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I trust them. Grand Canyon don't they have one good scorer, like a really good scorer?
Yeah.
But I just think St. Mary's plays very good team basketball. So it's pretty tough to beat, especially in the tournament.
Yeah. I'm going with Grand Canyon.
Wow.
I just think their offense is electric, and they could. I think the problem with St. Mary's is they're very efficient, but they're a slower paced team. I think Grand Canyon has an opportunity to kind of run it up early, scare St. Mary's, and hopefully hang on. Because I think St. Mary's would make a second half comeback. But I just think that the Antelopes have a chance to do something crazy, which would be a lot of fun. I think this would be a fun upset, and because of the way this bracket works out, there's a chance Grand Canyon could make it to the Sweet 16,
That'd be fun.
in my opinion.
And the scorer for Grand Canyon is Tyon Grant Foster.
That's, yep.
20 a game, 6 rebounds. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah. So here's Sammy's opinion on the matchup.
Best names ever.
That's right.
Best names ever. I thought this over. I mean, I thought about this. I mean,
You thought about it.
I was very hesitant about thinking about picking the Antelopes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I watched St. Mary's play in the West Coast Conference Final against Gonzaga.
It looked pretty good.
It looked pretty good. So I'm taking the Gales of St. Mary's.
Okay.
Move on.
The Gales of St. Mary's.
I think St. Mary's plays the kind of basketball Michigan State fans used to see Michigan State play. Like they don't
Slow
make
the game
make
down.
many mistakes. They play tough. They have guys that can hit big shots when they need it. Like they play really good basketball.
Yeah. All right, next matchup, Alabama and Charleston. Is this a race to 100?
It just may be, but I think Alabama is too overpowered.
Yeah.
They have at least 3 guys that can all go for over 20. They'll probably have 2 guys to hit 20.
Right.
And Mark Sears is one of them. He's a sharpshooter, a lefty. He's not that tall. Shouts out. That's the type of game I have, so I really enjoy watching it. Short lefties that can shoot it a little bit. But yeah, I think Alabama's they're too powerful for Charleston in this one.
Forgot I'm sitting between lefty shooters.
I get called a shooter today?
I mean, you shoot with your left hand. Jordan, you see Charleston making any noise here?
I don't care about nothing but the Tide, baby. But yeah, we're going Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Alabama moving on.
Sears is going to be too much.
Sammy also had nothing to say about this matchup. All right, here's the fun one.
I'm excited for this one.
Clemson, New Mexico. They did what we wanted them to do, Malik. They won their conference tournament,
Yeah.
and they have a full head of steam heading in to the tournament. Clemson is a 6 seed somehow, some way.
That confused me. They should be like an 8 or 9 seed.
Yeah.
Because they had a real weird stretch in the ACC.
Right. New Mexico has Eddie House's son, Jamal Mashburn's son.
Donovan Dent.
Are we going with the upset? Even though technically it's not an upset because in the sports books, New Mexico is the favorite right now.
Listen, I'm a big fan of PJ Hall at Clemson. I think he could be a potential NBA player. I like the way he plays. Kind of a stretch forward that also has a post game. But New Mexico, the way they played in that Mountain West tournament, Jalen House lit up. He averaged like 20-something points a game.
Yeah.
Eddie House was going crazy in the stands. Like you said, they have Jamal Mashburn Jr., Richard Pitino as coach. I just love the way they play. They get up and down. They shoot it. I'm going New Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lobos.
Jordan?
I'll be going New Mexico, like we said. 2 senior guards, NBA fathers. Donovan Dent, good sophomore, to play along with it. They could score a bunch. Clemson, I really don't feel like should be a 6, like we said.
Yeah. New Mexico could be a team that maybe could make a little run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
They got a lot of energy right now. They're all over ESPN.
I think this is one of the most wide open sides of the bracket, so I think a lot of people could get some momentum and do something.
Yes, there's a lot of weird stuff.
I
But
think
yes,
the
I'll be going
Lobos
New
win
Mexico.
because I really
Fine.
like New
Very
Mexico
good.
because I've really liked how that team is. He's, as he mentioned, of course, Pappas always says like you have NBA talent. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm gonna roll with the talent.
And here's
Great
his
call.
call
And
for
he got
Baylor.
toothpaste.
Yeah, Colgate. We've seen them before.
Toothpaste.
You
Taking
have a
off
big
Baylor.
toothpaste. You don't do it.
Do you see an upset happening or?
Toothpaste ain't beating Bears.
Alrighty.
That's all you need to
That's
say.
all he had to
honestly.
say.
Toothpaste ain't beating the Bears.
Exactly.
Top level analysis right there.
Does anybody have Colgate? I mean, in the past, it feels like Colgate's been a little bit better.
They've always gotten like close to upset. They can't pull the upset.
Yeah,
They
have
get close
They have
a
that
few
high-powered
times.
offense, but I don't see them beating Baylor. I think Baylor's still a decent team.
Yeah.
Yep, big school, little school. Sorry.
All right, Baylor, moving on. Okay, we get to the bottom of the West. We got Dayton, Nevada. Where are we going?
I'm conflicted on this one. 'Cause
Dayton, top 25 team for most of the season.
I honestly think Nevada could pull it off, but I'm such a Dayron Holmes fan. He is an NBA player.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's going to play a while in the league. He's long. He's athletic. He can shoot it. He's just got game. And he's averaging 20 and 10. So I'm going Dayton. I think it's kind of a 50-50 game, but I'm just going to trust Dayron Holmes. Nate Santos is another good player. Enoch Cheeks. Great name in
That is
college
a great name.
basketball. Going with Dayton.
I like the Wolfpack here. I don't know why. It's one of those kind of
They
feeling
got a few
games.
guys
I feel
that
like you
can go
always
off.
take Nevada.
I do, and they always seem to ruin it.
Jared Lucas can shoot the lights out.
They're one of those teams that always seems to blow it for me, but I like Nevada. I just like the way they play. They get up and down. They haven't been good since they had the Martin twins, but I think Dayton's just struggling too much. I can't trust them. Where you at?
I'm going with Dayton. We're talking about Dayron Holmes is a monster. He's an NBA player for sure. He's upped his. I was just reading. He upped his 3-point percentage by like 14%.
He's almost shooting like 40%.
He's shooting
from three.
39.4% or something crazy for
Right.
what he is. That's if he could score in the tournament like that. I can't even see. They might make a little run.
This is kind of a crazy comparison. It's not a 1-to-1 comparison, but he gives me like Chris Bosh vibes.
Yeah,
He really
Very
does.
similar.
I love the way he plays.
lengthy,
Yeah.
thin.
Yeah.
All right,
No.
somebody's got a tie break because Sammy didn't have much to say, but he said the Wolfpack.
Ooh.
So I think let's just go with Dayton.
I was about to go with the best player in the.
Let's go with the
let's go
talent.
the best player.
I'm okay with taking Dayton in this. I think it's close enough.
He's by far the best player.
I finally just updated our Facebook feed too. Our dad took UAB and he took Duquesne in both of his brackets.
Wow.
So maybe we're on to
He's going
something,
all the
Malik.
upsets.
Tracy Woodrum says that MSU is going all the way. She's an MSU slappy,
Okay.
officially. And my mother picked Morehead State. So
I don't mind.
Don't know how to feel
I
about
don't
that.
mind that pick.
okay.
Also, shout out to my friend John Cush, a Dayton graduate. He was
Okay.
sweating out this season, hoping Dayton made it. They did. So
Go
Okay,
Flyers.
more,
Shouts out to him.
more reason that we can take Dayton. I like that. All right, Arizona Long Beach State. Long Beach State has no head coach technically. He's fired, but he's coaching.
That's crazy.
Does that make any sense?
That can't be a good sign.
He's doing it for the love of the game. That's
Or
why.
it's a good sign because they're all going to play
Right.
their hearts
They're-
out this
they're-
last run.
They're going for it.
I think you should start us off, Joey.
All right,
Long Beach State does have one guy that can go off.
yeah. I'm taking Long Beach State. I know. So it took me a while to come to this conclusion, but
A lot
I
has to
like.
go wrong for Arizona.
It's
for
one
them
of
to
those
lose this
things
game.
that I like the story. I just like that, they went on this run to win their conference tournament. Their head coach is coaching but doesn't have a job. And Arizona's one of those teams, too, for me, that I just never can get behind. And I know they got Caleb Love, but what happened when Caleb Love was on UNC and they were expected to do all these things? They didn't make the tournament last year.
Well,
And
the thing
I'm not
is-
saying that's a
I was
Caleb
about
Love
to say,
thing.
Yeah.
But to me, there just seems like there's a weird chance for Long Beach State to win this game. And all of a sudden, I started getting on that.
Remember, Coloco is not there anymore. We found out he's on the Raptors.
Shouts out to Christian Coloco. I can't go with Long Beach State.
Yeah, I assume.
Arizona, outside of Caleb Love, they have like 5 guys that can all score in double figures. Like, they're deep. So I don't see Long Beach State having enough to keep pace in the end.
Jordan, you have any thoughts that they could?
I really honestly don't know much about Long Beach State. The only thing I know is about their coach. But I'll take Arizona as well.
Okay.
So
Sammy,
I'll ruin your.
That's okay. Sammy already went with Arizona, so it didn't fully matter. Which
You got your big upset in.
it's fine.
We
Yeah,
got one.
it's one that I kind of came to a conclusion. Honestly, it was last night that I started thinking about it. All right, we're gonna move up on over to the other side of the bracket. And I got to get this all scrolled up. But we got Houston and Longwood. Anybody think that Longwood has a chance? Is a 1 seed going down?
I think Houston is right up there with UConn. I think it's like a 1A, 1B situation when they're both going, because UConn plays hard on defense, but I think Houston has the best defense in the country.
Okay.
Like, that Iowa State game to me was an outlier. Iowa State just played lights out, and Houston had their worst game of the season. Houston is an awesome team.
Yeah.
They have tons of experience too.
Yeah.
Right.
Where is the College of Longwood? Anyone know?
No.
I think Virginia.
I believe it's Virginia
But
as well.
yeah, I'm going to do a quick Google search just to
And
make sure we're right.
It is Virginia. And
Farmville, Virginia.
I saw out of the
boy.
last, I believe it's the last, not quoting this, but I think it's the last 5 years, every team that was a 14 or 15 seed, most of them have been out of Virginia,
Wow.
the
that's
state of
interesting.
Virginia. Like going back all the way to Richmond when they won when they were a 15 seed.
That's nice.
So just a fun fact in case you want to bet on it. But Longwood, unknown to me.
So you're picking Longwood is what you're saying?
I'm taking Houston.
Yeah, I don't see it. Again, I don't know enough about Longwood either, but
They could shock us all.
I would love it if they did, to be honest. I love when those kind of teams lose, but I don't know. I don't see it. Sorry, I'm trying to mess around with this to get it correct. But Houston's going to move on. And then we got Nebraska and Texas A&M.
Listen,
Malik, I want you to start us off because we know how you feel about one Keisei
listen, let
Tominaga.
me tell you about a man named Keisei Tominaga who wears number 30. It's kind of like the college version of Steph Curry, but he's a lefty. He hits the most ridiculous shots when he's going. Step back threes from like 35 feet.
Yeah.
He's just a joy to. He's everything college basketball like you love about the sport. Those types of players, but it's just not him. They got Rink Mast, a guy that transferred in. He can hit it from three, and he's got a good post game. Jawan Gary is a really good gritty four off the bench. Most of their guards can shoot. They all have the ability to go on a little run. I love what Nebraska has done this season.
Yeah.
And even though Texas A&M is experienced, Buzz Williams is a very good coach, and I think Wade Taylor versus Keisei Tominaga is the point guard matchup of the first round. It's going to be, just them going at it. I'm going with my heart and head 50-50. I'm going Nebraska.
Okay.
Yeah, believing in the Cornhuskers.
Alrighty. Let me get Sammy's take on this one because he hasn't had one in a while.
Old Big 12 battle.
Yeah. You like the Big
all
Ten
Big
school
12.
or you like A&M in this?
Gig 'em. Gig 'em.
Okay.
You know what gig 'em is, right?
No.
A&M.
I don't know what
Kinda
Gig 'em
figured.
is.
He got me good.
A&M. You know what I mean? You have Hook 'em. Yeah, gig 'em's A&M.
Gotcha.
I knew it
Makes
wasn't
sense.
Nebraska,
Yes.
but
I get it.
Yep.
You
know
know,
about
not a
Johnny
fan
Manziel.
of Nebraska?
You gotta
How's
I know
the
Chris-
Johnny
I
Manziel?
love Nebraska.
wait, listen to
Chris
this.
and Malik are going to be
My goodness.
big on Nebraska.
I love Nebraska. I mean, like, they have one of the best tunnel walks in college football. They have that tunnel walk where that's really where the players of
Likes their
Nebraska
football
touch the
team.
horseshoe there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Gotta love
trying to get that with my Scripps throwers at Scripps. You know, we're touching like, you know, I mean, like a good luck lucky horseshoe or something.
Yeah.
I want to do that though. I mean, seriously, I think it's really good. I mean, we come out down with Parsons Cyrus. I mean, you know, so why not?
There you go. But he's going A&M.
Yeah.
I like Keisei Tominaga, and the more that I thought about it, I think I think realistically, both of these teams have a chance to knock off Houston potentially, given the right momentum. And A&M is a scary matchup, but we got to go fun. I think Nebraska has a good chance of winning this game. I'm going Nebraska. Jordan?
I'm gonna make it a tie.
Wow.
I mean, I've watched more Texas A&M.
Wade
I've
Taylor's a dog.
watched Nebraska because they are a fun team in the Big Ten. I watch more Big Ten than any of the basketball, but
Right.
I've seen numerous Texas A&M games, and their backcourt is phenomenal. They're all both. I'm pretty sure they're both seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wade
Wade
Taylor.
Taylor and Tyrese Radford are
Yep.
both good.
Wade Taylor, one of the best scorers I think in the country, brings that spark. Same with Nebraska, obviously. I just think Texas A&M as a whole is way more athletic. It's going to be a lot harder for Nebraska to score on them.
That's fair.
We can go with Nebraska, though, for the sake of the bracket, because I know you guys want Nebraska.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with that.
Listen, let's do it.
All right.
But I personally would be taking Texas
Okay.
A&M.
We'll have it on record for you.
There we go.
All right. Wisconsin, James Madison. Another popular upset. Malik and I have been talking about James Madison a long time this year.
Yeah, before the Big Ten tournament, you told me how much you weren't a fan of Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and they made a little bit of a run, just a little.
And I'll be honest, I flipped the script. I think Wisconsin got right at the right time. I didn't believe them, but they showed me something in the Big Ten tournament. A.J. Storr was on. Their offense got kicked up to another notch. I think this is a trap game in the bracket where a lot of people are going to go with James Madison. And I think Wisconsin, they're a team to watch out for. I'm completely flipping what I've been saying to end the season, but I'm going with Wisconsin.
Yeah, up until we started this show, I was going James Madison for the most part. But I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you. A.J. Storr, when he transferred to Wisconsin, I didn't understand it at all. And he's been exactly what they needed. Like just a go-to scorer that can get buckets whenever they need it. Max Klesmit is one of the best shooters in the country. Chucky Hepburn sometimes, I don't like his style of play sometimes, but he's a good college point guard. He's tough. And shouts out to John Blackwell, freshman from Michigan. I think he went to Brother Rice.
Okay.
Yeah, he
think
played
you- I
for
think you're
the Bates AAU team with Amani.
Bates
Came up with
fundamental.
them.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to Wisconsin. It could be a close game. James Madison is really good. They only lost like 4 games in the regular season.
Right.
But yeah, I'll go Wisconsin.
Jordan, where are we going?
Welcome to Division I basketball and football. James Madison's a team to be messed with.
Yeah, we talked about them all football season. It's great for them to make it to Division I and be successful.
Right off the bat, like people were saying, James Madison last year they should have let them go in the tournament just because of how good they were.
Malik and I had a long discussion about that last year.
So I think they're just gonna. The only reason why they could get the upset, I think, is because they're gonna be so fired up to play in the tournament and that they deserve to be there.
Right.
But Wisconsin is, every time that I think the Big Ten is bad, they end up proving me wrong. So
Yeah.
I'll go with Wisconsin as well.
All right. So here's the James Madison take
James
from
Madison
Sammy.
wins this one.
Okay.
This is where Mr. Garcia and I severely disagree.
Yeah.
And we'll go in a couple minutes here. Why? Because I love James Madison.
All right.
I think they could be Cinderella.
They could be.
They
They're very.
remind me of Loyola Chicago.
Oh man,
He's not
I had
totally
to.
wrong.
I had to tell the guys that we are no longer a Loyola Chicago podcast after watching them lose in their semifinal game.
Yeah,
It was pretty embarrassing.
it was.
No more Sister
And
Jean.
I'm holding us to it. We're no longer a Loyola Chicago podcast. I didn't hear Chris make any gripes about that, so I think we're out of that era. So we got to find a new team to root for. But unfortunately, we're going with Wisconsin. This is a matchup that I don't mind either team winning. Like if James Madison wins this game, it's a fun story to talk about. So Duke and Vermont. Come on, Duke background. Who you got?
You know I'm riding with Duke.
Okay.
Obviously, everyone knows Kyle Filipowski, the court storm flopper. We know all that.
Typical Duke
The
guy.
biggest controversy in sports this year.
Yep, yeah, and
The
they've
court
gotten
storm.
a lot. They got a lot. But John Shire coaching, I think this is going to be a better year for him in the tournament. And also people forget, they don't forget about him, but the TikTok guy, Jared McCain, he's actually a really good basketball player.
He's a great shooter.
Makes himself look like a fool sometimes on the internet, but I
This
can't.
is this generation.
That's very
kids,
true.
Yeah.
I can't see Duke losing to Vermont.
Yeah.
Vermont does have experience, though.
I was going to say, Vermont's that team, they're reminding me of Colgate, where they get close, they just can't do it. They have that offense that's electric, and they can shoot the lights out, but they just can't get over the hump.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Duke. Malik?
I'm going with Duke also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sammy also went Duke very easily. So no big upset here. Here's another couple fun matchups. We got Texas Tech, NC State. NC State making the run to win the ACC tournament.
5 games in 5 days.
And they
We
just
know what happens when that happens.
they
too.
laid it all out on the floor.
Yeah.
Beat Duke, beat North Carolina. Now they're playing Texas Tech. Another team always seems to come in underrated. They're just as good again this year, I think. We riding with NC State or the Raiders?
Is NC State out of gas?
No.
Are they still riding the high?
The magic continues. It's March. They've
Okay.
they started hot in March. The month's not over. Teams like this, like it reminds me of UConn when Kemba was there and Shabazz Napier and that type of stuff. When teams make runs in their in a big conference tournament that shouldn't, I like them going into the tournament. And 6-11 is a good flip flop. I could see it, so I'm going with NC State.
Okay.
I like Texas Tech a lot. Pop Isaacs is one of my favorite guards in the country. He's a really good shooter. But man, that run NC State made, they got some guys that can really score. DJ Burns down low, the big man that has so much touch. He's like Zach Randolph 2.0. You know what? I'm going to go along with it. I'm going NC State. Just go along
Keep
with
the magic.
Yeah.
All right. Sammy went with Texas Tech in this one. He went pretty easily. He thinks NC State has run out of gas.
Okay.
I also think they've kind of run out of gas.
No belief.
But
No
They
belief.
ran through the Blue
I
Bloods
know.
to get here too.
the problem is, for me, Texas Tech is always that tricky team to get through because of the way they play defense. And we're going NC State for the bracket.
Thank you.
For the
can be
culture,
that
we're
one,
going with
that,
NC
that one
State.
could be for me.
But heart of hearts, I think Texas Tech moves on. Speaking of heart of hearts,
Speaking of hard hearts.
we're gonna let Malik talk
Oh,
first,
man.
and then we're gonna play Sammy's take, and then Jordan and I will cue in. We'll let the Oakland guys go first.
This one is a long time coming. This team, this university right here.
The Greg Campy redemption tour from Malik.
I've seen 3 teams when I was at Oakland for 4 years all missed the tournament when they should have made it. 2 of them with Kay Felder, 1 of them with Kendrick Nunn.
Those are great names.
Yeah. High-level college basketball players that all
Great college
should
basketball
deserve
players.
to be in March, but just couldn't do it. They finally got over the hump. They have the Conference Player of the Year in Trey Townsend. They got a high-level shooter in Jack Golke, another really good shooter in Blake Lampman, and a real wild card in Rocket Watts off the bench.
Real
scored,
wild.
Scored 18 in their first conference tournament game and led them in scoring. They'll need every bit of all their best players to win this game. And I'm going all heart in this one. I'm going Oakland.
Hey, I like it.
Big time upset. Listen, Kentucky's offense is terrifying when they're rolling.
Yeah.
They can score over 110 when they're going. But they're also very young. Calipari rotates guys every year. You never know which guys are really ready for those games. Was it 2 years ago when they lost to St. Peter's?
Yeah,
Yes,
2 years
yes.
ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, they 15 seed, just
Blue.
they took every punch Kentucky had and kept it rolling. Listen, Kentucky has 2 guards that come off the bench that might be top 10 players.
Yep.
Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham, those dudes are dogs.
Scary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
But
athletic,
listen,
very fast.
Jack Golke, Blake Lampman, they shoot it. They shoot the lights out. Trey Townsend gets their bigs in foul trouble, and Rocket Watts gives them just that little touch off the bench they need. going up against Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham. Give me the Oakland Grizzlies.
Sammy might be in line with you.
You have faith?
Oakland upsets Kentucky.
Listen,
Here's
Okay.
me
why.
and Sammy are good forever.
You have Blake Lattman, can shoot threes.
Yep.
Jack Oakey can shoot threes. Rocket Watts, if healthy, can shoot threes.
Yep.
You have Trey Townsend,
Listen
who
to the man.
who could be one of the who's a very
That is
underrated
perfect.
player. Seen him when he did at Oxford. You have Chris Conway, who's really blossomed into a star. You have they got talent. Oakland's got talent. I
Yep.
mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they got talent. I mean, it kind of they struggled early on, but they figured it out, turned it around, got the number 1 seed in the Horizon tournament, knocked off Fort Wayne, then they knocked out Cleveland State, and then they got by Milwaukee.
Yep.
So there's a lot to like with
Finally
this
got by
Oakland team, I
Milwaukee.
think. And when I look at Kentucky, I don't trust their shooting one bit.
Okay.
They got 3
Scary
guys
statement.
inside. They remind me a little bit of watching when I watch it play. They remind me a little bit of Wright State, and I didn't like how Kentucky played in the SEC tournament,
Okay.
where they got beat. They got beat pretty badly in that tournament. So I'm gonna take, and I don't trust Kentucky, especially what happened to them last year when they lost to St. Peter's. And that's a scary match for me when they play Tennessee. So
I think it was 2
we'll
years ago.
see. I mean, but I got Oakland upsetting
You could
pulling
still
out the big
gauge
upset
nothing this
against
year.
Kentucky and moving on. I don't think Vitale has Kentucky winning it, but and a lot of people have them as a darling, obviously. But I just think Oakland comes in there, shocks the world, and just pulls it off.
Listen, no matter how big of an MSU slappy he is, Sammy, we're good
okay.
forever. Yeah, this is top tier.
And Sammy mentioned Dick Vitale in Kentucky. I agree with Dick. I think Kentucky is one of my tournament favorites this year. Like everything Malik said, their offense is insane,
Yeah.
but their defense is very questionable. They don't play much defense. But if they're right, they're going to be very tough to beat. Oakland, I think the key is Blake Lampman and Jack Golke. I think those guys need to hit their threes. They need to accelerate the game with the threes. Trey Townsend, I don't know if he's going to have as big of an impact as he did in the conference final, but local guy from Oxford, so you got to root for him. It's cool to see them back in the tournament, but ultimately, my pick would be Kentucky. Jordan?
So my first question: are they not the Golden Grizzlies anymore?
They are the Golden Grizzlies.
Oh, okay. I was just.
I just called them the
that's
Grizzlies.
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've seen more probably Oakland University games than maybe any other college. Maybe CMU probably a little more, but like I grew up Travis Bader fan. I've seen him hit 11 threes in a game. I really want OU to win. Like I would love it, and like we said, Trey Townsend's amazing. Great players. They're good enough. But this is where I say I wish they could have been in Duquesne's spot.
Yeah.
Because, or even against Clemson or something, they would have had a much better go at it.
Yeah.
Kentucky is way too athletic, I think. I just feel like they're going to run OU into the floor, and they won't be. And the only way is if they almost shoot perfect. But, and crazier things have happened in the tournament. Dad also just gave a quick update. He said, no way for the Grizz. Kentucky by 40.
Disappointed in that one. Disappointed.
All right.
It's
I
possible,
would
but
love to cheer for Greg Campy. I've been around him. But we're going Kentucky.
Yeah. So we got another
not
tie,
possible.
which means, again, for the culture,
For the
Golden
Oh,
Grizzlies.
wow.
Let's go.
The Golden Grizzlies have
For
to
the
move
culture.
Okay.
on. We got to support Malik and Sammy, I think, in this opportunity.
I'll give it to you.
But we
we're
haven't-
all, we're all from the
90
state.
right,
We've all been to a
right.
we've all been to a Golden Grizzly
At
game.
least like
Yeah.
80% of brackets are going to have Kentucky going.
Yeah,
Why not?
right. I think in this,
Why not get the perfect bracket?
Exactly.
the one last thing that I'll say too, Kentucky doesn't play defense. The other problem, Oakland doesn't play
I was
defense.
going to say OU doesn't really play defense neither.
So that's the scary part for me. But Oakland would be so awesome to see them win. So I think that's the reason we're going to go with it.
it could again. Kentucky could come out thinking they're going to blow them out. They're very young, a lot of freshmen, a lot of big-name freshmen.
And like we said, we've seen Kentucky have that problem in the
exactly
past.
start really slow. So it's possible for sure. It's just going to depend.
This is a matchup I'm actually really intrigued about, actually. Florida and the winner of tonight's game, Boise State and Colorado. I think, sorry, I paused too long, but I think Colorado's going to beat Boise State, and I think Colorado's going to make it. I think they're going to beat Florida. I think Florida losing their center in the conference, it was a conference final, right? I think that's going to hurt their momentum. They are a team that I like down the stretch, but what's the stat I just saw? That in the past, like 4 years or something, a play-in team has made the Sweet 16. And I think this spot is the perfect team to make it to the Sweet 16. Even if Colorado doesn't win it, it's Boise State.
I was going to say, I think Boise State's almost better.
And that's fair. I think either one of these teams has a really good chance to knock off Florida, and then potentially, if they play Marquette, Western Kentucky, can knock that team off and make it to the Sweet 16. So in this instance, I'm going to say it's Colorado, but I'm going to say they beat Florida.
I'm going to go kind of on the opposite end, and I think them losing their big man, it shook them during that game. They didn't really get it together again until the second half. And they made a little run, but Auburn still pulled it out. I think they're going to play really inspired and hard for their guy that went down with a really nasty injury in that game. Walter Clayton and Will Richard, both high-level shooters, guys that can go for 20-plus when they get hot. They beat Alabama this year. They put up over 100 on Alabama, and they averaged 90-something points a game in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
So they can score. And I'm not sure if Boise or Colorado can fully keep pace when Florida is like really going. So I'm going to go with the Gators. I'm going Florida.
Is Walter Clayton? He's a transfer, right?
Yeah.
From
I think.
Is it Ionia?
I think Iona. Yeah.
But
Malik getting a little family love.
So I'm going to disagree with Colorado. I think Boise State's going to win tonight over Colorado.
That's fair.
But I do believe Florida's going to win, just because they score too much. Very hard, especially in the SEC if you're scoring that much.
Yeah.
To me, feels like, but I would prefer. I think Boise State has a better chance with Florida than Colorado does.
Okay.
But that's just me. But I'm still going Florida.
Sammy easily picked Florida, so the Gators moving on. Marquette and Western Kentucky. I'm going to start it off again. I'm taking Western Kentucky.
Oh, my. 2 15-seed upsets?
Yes, and I don't think they're both going to
my
happen.
God.
I think it's possible that one of them happen. I also see neither one of them obviously happening. But
So I was with the law averages.
So I was watching. I didn't watch a whole lot of Western Kentucky, but I watched Avery Johnson fill out his bracket, and he made this upset. So I said, "What does Coach see that I'm missing?" So
he calls like most. I think he called almost every CUSA game.
Right.
He was like one of the main analysts for.
So he
CUSA
sees
games.
that conference the most, and I went and started looking at some of Western Kentucky's stats, and they're another team that they can run up and down the floor. They have a good offense, and they score 80 points a game. They didn't really play anybody. That's their problem. But I just think so. I'm a Marquette hater. I'll be honest. There it is.
Is Tyler Kolek out?
I don't know if they've confirmed it
I'm gonna
yet,
have to check really quick.
but
I know he hasn't played.
Tyler Kolek. It doesn't say he's out.
right.
I would
think
imagine
they
he's
said
gonna-
there's hope for him to play, but if not, they think he'd be ready for the second round or something.
I feel like he has to play.
Yeah. But there's something about Marquette that I just don't trust, even if they have Tyler Kolek. So I think they're another opportunity for an upset. So that's my only reasoning going with Western Kentucky. Sammy's going Marquette, just by the way.
Everything I'm seeing on social media and on the ESPN app, it says he's practicing like full 5-on-5 this past week. So I'm assuming Tyler Kolek is playing.
Yes.
If he's out there, I think he just dices up Western Kentucky. He's a high-level passer. He's a good three-point shooter. And he just controls the game.
Yeah.
There is a chance Western Kentucky can pull it off. But I'm trusting Marquette for at least the first round.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm trusting him for the first.
fair enough. Jordan, are you with that?
Malik, you're a big fan of Shaka, aren't you?
Shaka, I'm not a big fan. I'm a fan of him.
Okay, I thought that you were. I thought we talked about that once, but Marquette has a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And in not going very far, but their guys have been Iguodala, or I think that's his
Iguodara.
name. Yeah, Iguodara, same thing.
Cam Jones. Did they make the Sweet 16 last year? Was that where they got?
I think so.
But see,
Well, they lost to Michigan State.
Was that
Was
just
it
the
in
second round?
I think it was to get to the they did
Second round.
Yeah, they got to the second round.
Okay.
I'm not a huge believer in Tyler Kolek.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily either.
I've seen him have really bad games. I've seen him play great as well, but I don't know anything about Western Kentucky, so that's my fault again. But
Well, like I said, I don't know a ton. I just did a little bit of some research, and I know that they're a high-powered offense.
Yeah, with most 15 seeds, when they pull upsets, you don't know.
Yeah, you would never
until
know.
it happens.
I will take Marquette just because they should get out of the first round. I don't know if they can take Florida, but they should be able to get out of that first round.
Right.
With or without Tyler Kolek.
Yep. All right, there's another one. Purdue, are they making it out of the first round this year?
Listen, they're not getting beat by a 16 seed in back-to-back years.
It's either going to be
It's not
Montana
happening.
State or Grambling.
Yeah.
Both teams had pretty good
And speaking of that
seasons.
game, Montana State is up
What?
38-31 right now on Grambling in the first half.
Montana
They're up
State's
how much?
38-31.
Okay, it's close.
I thought you
So
said they were up 30.
Montana
Yeah.
State is a better
What
team
in
than
the world?
Grambling, so they might end
Montana
up
State,
winning.
it says, went 17-17,
Yeah,
Did they?
they won their conference tournament.
Oh boy.
going 500.
Yeah.
I
They're the
completely
Big
forgot
Sky,
they were
right?
17,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the Big Sky.
They have a few guys that transferred in from like Power 5 schools. So
And did they make the tournament last year, or was it like 2 years ago?
I think they missed last year.
Okay. They've made
They
it
were in it
before.
pretty recently.
Yeah, they've made it before. So.
Technically, Grambling is a better team, but yeah, Montana State is up right
17
now.
and 17. That's unbelievable.
Wagner was like 15 and something when they won their tournament.
That
so,
is true.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear Sammy's take about this?
yeah.
Purdue better not lose this game like it did to Fairfield Dickinson last year.
Yeah.
Because I still remember that game. I watched that game Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going like, oh boy. And then
Talking about
Purdue
Big Ten
should
championship.
never, ever
Or
wear
tournament.
those cursive uniforms again. Because those uniforms they wore are bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
They showed it in there. They wore them against Wisconsin, got beat. They wore them against Fairfield Dickinson, got beat. Purdue needs to go back to their old
also pretty
uniform
sure they
combo
were
where they
wearing
have the
against
opposite
Northwestern
like
when they
line
were away at
uniform.
Northwestern.
Okay.
They need to go back to that.
Yeah.
I mean, like Purdue just needs like a complete. I mean, yeah, they got Zach Edey. Fletcher Lawyer is a defensive liability.
Mhm.
Can't believe I said Foster on there.
He's been shooting the lights
That's
out,
okay.
though.
They did in the Big Ten tournament as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that, but
Yeah, Fletcher is a complete liability defensively. I got Purdue moving on because of I don't think either of those two teams are going to beat Purdue or stop Zach Edey.
yeah.
Surprise, Sammy didn't get the support of the former OAA Clarkston player, but
He was in Clarkson.
yeah, he did.
Fletcher?
For like a year.
Yeah, and then he
Then he moved to
transferred
Indiana.
to
I was going to
Indiana.
say, I never
Yeah.
remember him being in the
Right,
state of
maybe
Michigan.
that's why Sammy didn't like him, because he transferred out.
Oh.
But I don't see Purdue blowing it again.
Don't.
I think Purdue has the chance to do what Virginia did and go out in the first round and then win the whole thing this year. I think Purdue is still a strong team. I do think they have their flaws. They're more flawed than the other one seeds, I think.
The most.
But I can't see them losing. They got a pretty good draw in this side of the bracket.
The only thing that also, like, we thought the same. Fairleigh Dickinson's tallest player last year was 6'6".
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, just dump it into
Yeah,
Zach
it's a
Edey.
terrible
Dump it into
matchup.
Zach Edey.
Yeah.
And that's what we're thinking again with small teams.
Mm-hmm.
But Purdue still hasn't gotten better at breaking the press.
Yeah.
Or at the very end of the game, they panic.
Mm-hmm.
Their two guards are liabilities with the basketball at the end of the game.
I wouldn't say Braden Smith is a liability with the ball. I don't think he's a complete liability.
If he can get the ball, they can't even inbound it to him half the time. So I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
But They have to win. They have to win. There's no way. I don't know if they're going to make it out of the second or third round, but because I really have no faith in Purdue this year.
Matt Painter should never get another college basketball job if he loses again.
I agree. I don't know how he has
Career ender.
I won't even know what to say if it happens again. I won't know what to say.
Okay.
He was complaining about court storming this year too.
Yeah. Purdue, moving on, nice and easy. Utah State, TCU. Jordan, I know you're a big Horned Frog guy. How do you feel about them? Did you do any research on them?
I've watched a couple. I've seen them. I haven't sat and watched a full game. They were good last year. They've seemed like a very similar team as to what they were last year.
Yeah.
I really don't know much about Utah State. I know they have one guy who's apparently a good scorer. I'm going to take TCU here just because love the Horned Frogs, and they've had a good team for the last few years. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great awesome war.
That was it. We were talking before the show. Great.
Yes, great. Utah State is like Nevada for me. They're another team that I always think is going to make it through and that they're going to play well. They had a really good season again. But TCU is a team that plays in the Big 12. They've had some good wins. They've had some tough losses, but they've been in a lot of games in the Big 12, which terrifies me. Yeah. I'm going with Utah State, but I'm very nervous about it.
I think Utah State lost some steam throughout the season. They're still good, but I don't think they're as good as they were early on. And I like Emmanuel Miller. I like Jameer Nelson Jr. We're getting old. Jameer
that's
Tell me
insane.
about it.
That's
Jr.
crazy to even think about.
Yeah. I like TCU in this one.
All right.
Taking the Horned Frogs.
Sammy said the exact same thing. Texas Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we get into the popular upset picks right here.
Yeah. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it on this one. This may be like the popular upset pick. I don't care. I'm going McNeese.
Okay.
I don't believe in this Gonzaga team. They don't have that like standout guy
Yeah.
that you see that like gets them over the hump in a lot of games. They have a good overall team, but they weren't even the best team in the West Coast Conference this year.
Nope.
For the first time in like a long time. So yeah, Shahada Wells is a baller from McNeese State. Will Wade got fired from LSU for all those allegations. Went to McNeese, a smaller school in Louisiana, and just kept it rolling. They went 30-3 in the regular season. Huge turnaround. I'm going McNeese over Gonzaga.
Okay. I battled back and forth with this one. I'm kind of with you. Like, I want McNeese to win. The thing that scares me is when these kind of matchups happen and everybody starts getting on McNeese. I feel like that's when the big teams know how to counter it. Mark Few has been in this situation. He's been in the tournament all these years now. Even though he doesn't have the talent that he's had in the past, it seems like he gets the most out of his guys at the end of the day. And the more that I've been thinking about this as this week's gone on, I think I'm going to go to Gonzaga. And I don't like that because I'm not a Gonzaga fan. But I think I'm going to go Gonzaga.
Disappointing.
I know.
I'm disappointed.
It is.
You're picking out of fear.
A little bit. Jordan?
So real quick, do we all know the Pistons legend that went to McNeese?
Joe, number 4.
Joe Dumars, baby.
The GM we don't talk about
exactly,
anymore.
exactly. But
Well, that's not. Well, anyway.
yeah, McNeese has the TCU transfer, Shahada, or TCU. Gonzaga had a down year, but Mark Few being there, like, it's all, and some people take the coaching way more than what I think he should. Like I joked around with the Izzo thing.
Yeah.
And
I
Mark
agree.
Few's been there a ton. Like I think he's
still one of the best coaches in the country.
Is he the longest tenured now?
Well, it's still Greg Campy.
Oh yeah.
It's still Greg Campy.
But
until he retires, nobody's beating him.
But yeah, I want, and it's a 12-5. I'm gonna go with McNeese just for the fun of it.
Okay.
And I don't like Gonzaga. I don't like to see him. I'm sick of seeing him.
Yep. I just want it on record, I guess. But Sammy's going McNeese, so the podcast goes with McNeese, which I'm excited about.
Hey, we got some wild upsets.
Still makes it fun. Yeah. Kansas and Samford. I'm going to start again just because it's the same line of thinking. And
Kevin McCullough is out for the tournament.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hunter Dickinson is going to play. He's apparently been practicing. He's been good. Sanford, another 3-point, shoot the lights out kind of team. Had a good season. Maybe it's my fear, but all of a sudden this week, as these two have been the most popular upsets I think that I've seen around, I think Kansas is going to be able to just dump it into Hunter Dickinson. I think we didn't see a lot of their depth throughout the season because Hunter Dickinson's kind of, you throw it into the post and you don't see him kick it back out too often. Kevin McCullough, he's not much of a drive and dish kind of guy. He's a drive and get to the basket kind of guy.
I think Hunter Dickinson actually did a lot of good passing out of the post.
Okay. But I think with a team like Kansas, yes, they haven't shown depth, but I think their depth is going to come out because they're going to have to because they don't have Kevin McCullough. I think somebody's going to step up. I think Kansas is going to win this game.
I agree. Sanford could keep it close in the beginning, but yeah, I think Kansas wins.
Jordan?
Yeah, with McCullers out, then that's just going to leave the freshman kid, the mullet. What's his name?
Johnny Furphy.
Yeah, he
developed really well throughout the season.
That means he's going to just get a lot more looks, and I think he's a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Dickinson, is it his 5th year now?
Fourth.
Yeah, he's still hasn't learned anything besides a dribble twice left hook, but
it works every time.
It works until he has to play
and
another
he hits
7-footer.
Too. He hits
Yeah,
threes.
I agree, and he'll be a good addition for him. I can't see them losing, even with McCullough out. If I didn't even know that, I was thinking Kansas was going to make a pretty good run with all of them.
Right.
But yeah, I'll go with Kansas.
Yeah, I'm with
believe
you.
the hype.
I think if McCullough was playing, I think Kansas would have been a really sneaky
scary
team because people kind of forgot about them the way they finished the season. I think they could have done something big, but with him out, I think they win this game, but they could be on upset alert at this point.
I just think too we talk about the balance of young talent and older guys that have been around. They have a phenomenal for that.
Right. A little update. Jordan and I's mom, she has Marquette going all the way, and our cousin Tanner
That'll be a
has
first.
Gonzaga all the way, apparently.
Oh boy, that's a stretch.
Not sure how I feel about that, but
I believe Tanner has taken Gonzaga a few times in his life.
okay, well,
Just a Bulldogs fan.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess.
I could be wrong. Sorry, Tanner, if I'm wrong.
South Carolina and Oregon. Malik, where are you feeling? You were on the Gamecocks
Listen.
most of the season.
I think Lamont Paris did probably the best coaching job in college basketball this year.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody predicted South Carolina to be good. Some people thought they could be average. They had a really good season in the SEC. I mean, Colin Murray Boyles is one of the best freshman big men in the country. Their backcourt is really good. And they just play quality basketball. Now they got popped a few times by better teams.
Yeah.
They went on the road to Auburn and got beat by 35. But they never wavered. They never lost confidence. And I like them a lot. Oregon will be. It's a good matchup. It could go either way, but I'm trusting Lamont Paris, and I like South Carolina. I'm going with them.
Okay. Jordan, where you at?
Sorry, I was trying to pull up Oregon's center's name. Yeah, Nafali Dante.
Yeah.
The giant guy.
Mm-hmm. He was hurt most of the season.
Yes. That is my only reason why I'm taking Oregon. Is
Because of Nafali Dante?
Yeah, just because.
Did you see him in the conference final?
Yes.
He looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like an NBA player as well, just body size, the whole arm length, he has everything. I didn't watch any of South Carolina this year, I'm sorry. Sorry to the Gamecock fans out there, but I'm going to go with the Ducks.
I'm going with the Ducks as well. I think
To add to the upsets.
I think they're another team that's rolling at the right time. I think South Carolina kind of tripped and stumbled towards the end of the year. And if Oregon had Dante the whole season in the Pac-12, you never know. They might have had less losses and they might have been a better seed. So we might be seeing something where, realistically, this team could have been a 7-8 seed or something like that.
I've doubted Oregon before. There was a year where I said Peyton Pritchard didn't do anything for me. And then he just went off, and they made a little bit of a run in the tournament.
Right.
Jackson Shellstad is a special freshman point guard for Oregon. He can really shoot it, and he's really good.
And
The only thing is, it looks like they do have to play in Pittsburgh. So Oregon will have the time.
travel.
Yep.
Yeah.
That plays a little
It
bit of a
does.
factor. I mean, they do get acclimated. They're there for the week.
Right.
But
Who's Oregon's head coach? Like,
Dana Altman.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
Altman. Again, I'm with Jordan. Like, I'm not big on the coaching thing all the time, but he's got the coaching experience to get his guys right. So I think that plays a part for me. I will say Sammy did take South Carolina. So we got another tiebreaker. I don't know where we're at with who deserves to get the tiebreaker. But
I honestly understand all of you guys' points on Oregon, so I wouldn't mind going with Oregon in this one.
okay, let's do it. Let's take the Ducks. Let's keep the
keep
upsets
these
going.
giant double seeds up there.
Right. We got to hit on a few of them.
Yeah,
right?
we got to hit a couple.
Yeah. Another shout out, my friend Kelly Henderson, South Carolina graduate. Go Gamecocks.
I wish you would have said that earlier, though, because if you got graduates, then I'm more likely to go along.
I
with
didn't
it.
realize it factored in. I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah. Also didn't mention like half my family for the Oakland thing. But shout out to the Covington family. Yeah. Michael Covington, head assistant.
We got some Golden Grizzly love, which is cool. All right, Creighton and Akron.
Should I go? Can I go first?
Go for it. You got the Zips?
I'm taking the upset.
Wow.
Listen, Ali. They have veterans.
Mm-hmm.
I trust their squad. I trust their coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a believer in Creighton. I think they were better last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they don't have much defense. I forgot his first name, but Ashworth, their point guard. He's all offense, nothing on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the belief in them. And I think Akron is good enough to confidently come in and just shock the world
Okay.
and take them out. So I'm taking 14 seed Akron.
Okay. Sammy took Creighton. I will shout out my wife, Marie. She picked Creighton to go all the way. I'm with Malik. I am not a Creighton truster.
Yes,
They're
sir.
just another one of those teams that I feel like gets high seeds every year because they're in the Big East. I think the conference isn't that great. I think it's very top-heavy. I do like Baylor. Is it Bailey Shireman?
Yep.
Yeah, Baylor. Is it Baylor?
Baylor?
Bailey Shire.
Yeah.
Bailey? I always get it.
From South
Shireman.
State.
I like his game. I think he's really good, but he struggled a bit last year in the tournament, and I could see that happening again. This is another one that I had to go back and watch Akron tape because I had no idea what Akron was. But I think they have a chance. I think for the podcast, I'm going Creighton. I don't have a strong enough belief on Akron, but I could see it happening. I don't think Creighton is going to last long in the tournament. Jordan?
I like Creighton this year.
Okay.
So I believe taking Creighton. I think Shireman helps spread the floor so they can get
Yep.
the ball to Kalkbrenner. They just obviously they've had their ups and downs. They were supposed to be very good this year.
Yep.
It hasn't turned. I mean, they were good this year, obviously, but they weren't as good as what they were supposed to be. I think it would be embarrassing of them to lose to Akron.
It
so
would
that
be.
plays a factor, I think, for a lot of kids that go to the bigger schools. So I like Creighton this year.
Okay, so Creighton's going to march on for us. Then we get to the bottom of the first round. Texas playing Colorado State. Max Avemus in his 17th year in college basketball.
Me and Malik
That's what it seems
Me and
like.
Malik were
Yeah.
talking
But
before
listen,
the podcast.
He was a sophomore when they upset Ohio
it's,
State.
It's only
Yeah.
his fourth year.
Right, I know. Transferred to Texas. Texas, one of those teams, they're usually around, but they don't last long.
Yeah.
I think it was last year that I picked them to go far. They struggled again. And then Colorado State, they've been in and out. They were in the top 25 early on in the season. Then they hit some bumps. They blew out Virginia last night. Virginia shouldn't have even been there. They didn't deserve it. They got Isaiah Stevens. They've got, guys that played last year. And I don't know. This is a tricky one for me. Does anybody want to start? Jordan, you want to start?
Who's Texas' other best player? Don't they have
It's another guard.
That's what I thought.
Let me look I gotta look at it really
Oh,
quickly.
quick shout out. My mom also has Creighton in her other bracket going all the way. So I blasted Marquette. You kind of blasted
And
Creighton.
Sorry, we said that were we calling him Bailey Shireman?
Yeah.
It's Baylor.
Baylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure I was wrong.
I was like,
Dylan Disu and Tyrese Hunter.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I have Texas in this one. Colorado State, they were in the tournament, what was it, last year or 2 years ago, and they won the first game?
I don't fully remember.
They were like a 9 seed, I think.
Colorado State has never made it like a real run.
No, not like a run. But they were, I imagine they're similar teams. I don't know much about them this year, but last year they were a good shooting team. But I just think Texas is too much.
Yeah.
Max A. Smith has the most experience also from his big Cinderella run with Oral Roberts.
I'm going to take Texas also.
Yeah.
I think Colorado State might have the better coach. Also, Michigan, I think, is targeting Colorado State's coach, which I think is interesting. But I think Texas, they just have the advantage player-wise.
When I asked Sammy about this matchup, this is all he had to say. Hook 'em.
Okay, hook 'em.
So we're going
Horns
Texas.
down.
I think Colorado has a chance. Texas, I don't know. They're hard to judge, but I'm going to go with experience too. I think I'll go with Texas. Tennessee and St. Peter's. These aren't the same Peacocks that we saw a couple years ago. New coach, no Doug Eater. No, what were the twins' names? Do you guys remember? They had a pair of twins.
I honestly don't remember. The only person
I remember
is Doug Eater.
Yeah.
I remember,
And him leaving the next year.
Yep, and doing nothing at Bryant.
Getting a big NIL deal, though.
Anybody have any chance for St. Peter's?
No.
I have, listen, St. Peter's isn't going to win this game. But I have no confidence in anybody besides Dalton Connect. And that is just disappointing to me. They're a 2 seed. There are times where they just look lifeless outside of their best player, and I just don't understand it. Zakai Ziegler is a good college point guard, but there are times where he can't throw a rock in the ocean.
He played so much better last year.
Yeah. So Santiago Vescovi was better last year.
Yeah.
Josiah Jordan James hasn't looked good at all. They're like most experienced players just don't do much. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Tennessee.
Yeah. I've been the big Tennessee slappy this year. I love Dalton Connect. He's fun to watch.
He is a pro.
I love that they kind of pulled him out of nowhere. Was it Northern Colorado?
Yeah. JUCO to Northern Colorado to Tennessee.
To Tennessee, and one of the best players in the country.
Yep.
Rick Barnes has got to get over the hump at some point, right?
He is who he is at this point. I can't just buy into Rick Barnes all of a sudden.
But
he can't recruit other scorers. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm going Tennessee. I think their experience is going to help. Plus, having an offensive guy like Dalton Connect this year, I'm just hoping they get it right because I think they can make a deep run.
I got Tennessee here, but I don't trust them.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
and
yes, they should beat St. Peter's.
Here's
please.
Sammy's last take of the first round.
This match scares me.
Yeah?
Even though I know St. Peter's is a much different team than they were last year, they have
2
set
years.
Kentucky.
Right? It's 2 years.
And I'm really high
Sammy
on
makes me
Rick
second
Barnes'
guess it.
team this year.
So am I.
I'm really high on their team. I think Rocky Top gets it done, but they're going to create a scare for me for about until like the final media timeout of the game.
Okay.
They're going to scare me.
Going to be a close one.
Yep, but I got Rocky Top moving on.
Yes, I don't doubt it.
I think Tennessee blows them out this first game. I just don't trust them moving forward.
See, I
St.
think
Peters is not, they're 19. They
They're
went
nowhere
19
near.
and 13, and
Yeah.
whatever conference they're in, that's scary.
Right. So that's our first round, and we're moving back up to the top, and we're going with UConn FAU.
UConn.
Any FAU love, Jordan?
No, isn't this a rematch though?
They play in the Final Four last year.
No, San Diego State beat them to get to the championship, I believe.
But yes, I will be. UConn is too good.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Bobby Hurley.
No, FAU could put a scare into them because they have a good like 5-man lineup that can play tough with UConn, but I don't know if they can go all the way.
FAU beat Purdue in the beginning of the year, didn't they?
I honestly can't even remember.
I'm pretty sure that was Purdue's first loss. I'm pretty sure it's FAU, but I'm not positive.
I remember they beat Arizona in a preseason tournament.
That
FAU
might have been
did.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sammy went he went UConn, sorry. Pretty easily. I'm going to go UConn. I don't think FAU has the magic this year. San Diego State, Auburn. Malik, how you feeling about those Aztecs now?
Jaden Ledee versus Janai Broom is a big-time, big-man matchup. Two guys that can go for 20 and 10. I think Auburn just has a little bit more firepower.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if San Diego State can put up like over 80 points and just like outshoot them. So I'm going to go Auburn, unfortunately. Good for Bruce Pearl.
Yeah. Jordan still riding with Bruce Pearl?
They always let me down.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way.
They always let me down because I've taken Auburn in the last couple of years pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
But I will go Auburn this year. They can't not. To me, they can't lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
It just, like we were saying, I think they win the big man matchup. San Diego State, I don't think is going to put up the points to beat them.
Yeah, I'm going with Bruce Pearl as well. I think Auburn, again, I think they have a chance to kind of prove something this year. And Sammy feels the exact same way. So we're going with Auburn. Moving on. Which takes us down to our upset pick of Duquesne taking on Illinois. Anybody giving Duquesne another shot at a win?
I think this is a game. Was it 2 years ago when Kofi Cockburn and Illinois just played terribly and should have lost to UT Chattanooga, but still ended up winning the game somehow? I think this might happen. Like, Illinois just, like, it's a sloppy, just weird game where Duquesne is in it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But Terrence Shannon and Marcus Domask are just good enough to get them over the hump. So I'll go with Illinois.
Okay. Sammy had Illinois in this one, and I'm going Illinois too.
Yeah.
I think if Duquesne was to win the first game, I think Terrence Shannon would just be able to tear them apart in the second round.
See, I think if Duquesne wins the first game,
They got the momentum.
this out of a lot of teams would be a good second round team, I think, to face.
Okay.
But I don't believe Duquesne will win in the first place. So
Right.
I will go with Illinois.
Okay. Illinois moving on. Oh, I forgot to hit Iowa State on this apparently.
Good one.
But so now we got Drake and Iowa State. Malik, take it away.
It might end here. Iowa State, I said that game against Houston was an outlier, but they played high-level basketball all season.
Yeah.
Like, they're just – there's not one standout thing you can say that, like, makes them who they are, but they just win. And, they hit shots when they need to. They get stops when they need to. It all just works. TJ Otzelberger is a really good coach. So I'm going to go Iowa State.
Yep, I got the Iowa State logo up in my corner for a reason. I think their defense is just way too good. I think they could slow down Tucker DeVries, and if they slow down Tucker DeVries, I don't know if Drake has enough behind him to get it done. And Iowa State has a much better offense than they have had in years past. Tim and Lindsey can get a bucket when they need it.
Him, Keyshawn Gilbert.
Yeah. Which has been the kind of the missing recipe that they've had. So I'm going with Iowa State in this one. Jordan?
Yeah, unless Tucker DeVries scores
He's got to go
60, I can't. There's no way. They don't have enough behind them.
Yeah.
And Iowa State plays way too good of defense.
Yeah. Right.
Like, it's just not looking good for Drake.
Right. Sammy also going with Iowa State. Here we go. North Carolina, Michigan State. Is this where the line ends?
I wonder who Sammy picked.
Let's talk to our Michigan State Slappy.
They do, but they don't.
Okay.
Because here's why.
Have a chance.
I'm a big-time Spartan Slappy, as you know.
As we know.
Finally
I
admits it.
get concerned about North Carolina because they got depth.
Yes.
And they got proven players.
Yep. And they got size.
And they got size. Michigan State struggles against size.
Mm-hmm.
A la Zach Edey.
Right.
So that's a big problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a vintage Michigan State team
Right.
where they could be physical, rebound the ball. If this was the team that was in 19, I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not.
Yeah.
And I think Malik Hall was part of that 19 team.
Mm-hmm.
He's
And
a freshman.
I was gonna say.
I just don't think
Another
they have
30-year-old
enough to knock
college
off
player.
UNC.
Yeah.
So
All
I'm
right.
going to take Carolina in this one.
He was honest.
He finally
Yes.
admitted it.
He was
He was
honest.
Yep. Jordan, where are you at?
Armando Bacot's gonna be a problem.
Is he going to get 20 rebounds in this game?
A problem.
How do you keep him off the
There
oh,
is
man.
no way that he doesn't have like a 20-20 game.
Yeah.
But yeah, North Carolina has way too much for Michigan State
Yeah.
all over.
Malik, where are you at? Okay.
Tar Heels.
North Carolina moves
Tar
on.
Heels.
Here's one thing I'll say, though, and I think it's surprising. This is another team, as I've gone along, thinking about what happens. It's if they get out of the first round against Mississippi State, because I think that's their biggest what if.
Same thing as last year.
Yeah. This, to me, feels very similar to the Zion RJ Barrett year. And we called that game correctly on the podcast. I know it's not quite the same. The team was much more talented.
That's what I'm like
But-
player to player is.
But
yeah.
I have this strange feeling that if Michigan State makes it out of the first round, I'm banking on them getting things right and figuring it out.
What things?
Their lineup. their lineup.
What things?
Not playing Matty Sissoko
Is he about to play Xavier Booker 30
and
minutes?
Tyson Walker going off.
Okay. Tyson Walker has to have a Kimbo run
Yes.
for
Literally.
them to do it.
And I think Malik Hall has played well enough down the stretch that I think he can be. I know it's wild to say. It's wild to say. But I'm starting to lean Michigan State a little bit. UNC is that team that I don't fully know if
Joey, they're one of the best teams in the country.
they were one of the best teams supposedly in the preseason last year. I know it's a different year.
This is a completely different team.
It's not. They lost Caleb
like
Love.
Armando Bacot and RJ Davis are like their only key returning players. Everything else is like different.
Yeah.
Next, you're gonna tell me Steven Izzo is gonna clock in and score a bucket.
Okay, we're not going. I would never go that far. But I'm just saying.
It would be crazy. It would be crazy.
I think that there's a chance. So for the Michigan State lovers out there, I think you got a chance.
I don't think.
So you're telling me
I don't
there's
think
a
that.
chance.
I do not think this would be good for Michigan State if this happened.
I don't either. So that's
I
Would
think it'd be ugly.
bad
that's what
if
I
they
said.
Made the Sweet
That is
16.
the battle that I've been having because the MSU Slappies are gonna love it, but it makes the program worse, in my opinion.
Because then nothing changes.
Yep.
Exactly. And it's that time to change. But Meg Bowman, she's a big Spartan Slappy. She just said yes for my my say there. But they lack. She says they lack in consistency, but she believes.
Your dad said, "Stop it.
I know. I know.
Stop lying to the people.
I just-
the good people of Lake Orion."
I think part of it is I've been a hater all year, so I'm trying to give some love.
You've been honest all year.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm honest to a fault, but I do
Listen.
think there's a magical chance.
Every week I said Michigan was terrible and didn't deserve to be talked about. So
Yeah.
I'm
was just as
usually
honest.
backing Michigan State, but
Yeah.
there's,
I think it would be
there's
bad-
almost to me. I feel like there's no way.
Yeah. Again, I think it would be bad for the program. So if you want the future of the program, you want them to lose. St. Mary's in Alabama.
I love St. Mary's, but I don't think they can keep pace with Alabama's offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like Aiden Mahaney is a really good college point guard. I think Mark Sears is like speeding past him,
Yeah.
going up and down, just controlling the game.
The only way that I see St. Mary's winning it is they'd have to slow the game down.
I was literally about to say,
so
is it possible for
much.
them to slow it down?
And
That could
With-
get Alabama out of whack.
yeah,
Yeah.
if it's but I just when college teams do that, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Like it's extreme. Like it's possible, it's doable. They play very good team basketball, and Alabama's a run and gun team, so it's very possible. I just really don't see it. I think
Yeah.
Sears has a big game.
I'm trying to remember if St. Mary's turns the ball over a lot because if they try to slow the game down, sometimes that's what happens. You start getting turnovers, and then that lets Alabama run anyway. I can't remember. I think St. Mary's is usually good with the ball,
Aiden
They
Mahaney,
are, I'm
he's
pretty
not a bad decision maker.
but that would
But
scare me.
Alabama's a very athletic team. They're going to force it.
Yep.
They're going to force the mistakes. It's not going to.
Yeah. Sammy with Alabama, and I think I'm going Alabama too. So Alabama, moving on. New Mexico, Baylor. I'm riding with the Lobos.
So am I.
At this
So
point, it's
am
just
I,
all
man.
heart.
I'm fully on board.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
never trust Baylor usually in the tournaments.
Right.
And like I said, I watched New Mexico's run. I saw Eddie House
Yep.
hooting and hollering. That's my son. That's my son. So they have the talent.
Yeah, New Mexico will not be afraid whatsoever.
Right.
There'll be no fear.
They're
in
ready.
them.
Yeah, they're ready.
Yep. And like I said, I think this side of the bracket's pretty wide open. So this would be the fun, feel-good story, I think.
There is a scenario to me where Baylor's, they have a 5-star freshman center, Eve Missy.
Mm-hmm.
That kid is an athletic monster.
Yeah.
If he starts swatting stuff from the paint and catching lobs, then the intimidation factor
Then
could
it's
come
pro-
in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like if Baylor is jacking threes and like missing shots, New Mexico won't be afraid. But Eve Missy could change some things.
Yeah.
Still going with New Mexico.
And they
though.
still got Jacoby Walter over there, so
Yeah.
Baylor's a good team, but again, we like New Mexico. Sammy did go with Baylor just for the record. We got Dayton and Arizona, which originally I don't have either of these teams winning. So I'm kind of the whatever. So I think I would go Arizona because, again, if they make it out of the first round, I think they're fine. I think they could just be a team where they'd stumble in the first round. If they get out, they could make a run all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah. As much as I love watching Dayron Holmes, Arizona has two bigs that could match him like size-wise. Not skill-wise, but they could make it tough for him down low. And guard-wise, Arizona's just too deep. They got at least 4 dudes they could throw at Dayton's guards. It just make it tough. So, yeah, Arizona.
Yeah, I want to take Dayton because they do have the best player, but it's very hard. It's very hard for these small teams once they get a little bit further in. You're playing teams with tons of depth off the bench. Like they have all 5 positions filled. So
Yep.
I'm going Arizona.
All right, guess we're going with Arizona, which is totally fine with me.
Is it?
Yep.
Doesn't
So-
sound like it.
So we're going back up towards the top. And who do we have in our bracket? We've got Houston and Nebraska. So unfortunately, I don't get to play Sammy's audio because he had Houston and A&M
Gig 'em.
going on in this game. And
Can I start on this one?
Yeah, go for it. More K-Say love?
Listen, man. This is a nightmare matchup for Keisei Tominaga. I hate it. Jamal Shed is the definition of an absolute pit bull. He's the best point guard in the country to me. He is a high-level defender. He will guard you from end to end, nonstop. He can get buckets if he has to. He's a leader. I think he is going to be beyond excited to play Keisei Tominaga. And Keisei might hit a few deep threes, but he's not getting towards the paint on these guys. And Rink Mast isn't athletic enough to deal with their bigs. I don't see Nebraska hanging. This is like a Jamal Shed clinic right here, where he shows like the difference.
Yep. I'm in full agreement with you,
Yeah.
Malik, because if A&M is in this game, I think A&M's guards have a much better chance at playing with him.
Yeah.
I just think with Tomaka,
Tominaga.
she's gonna be all up in his mug.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna give him any room, and I don't think he's fast enough to get do blow-bys on him. I can't see it. I would like Texas A&M if that was it, but I'll go Houston in our bracket here.
Yeah, K-Say is more of a footwork kind of guy. He'll just beat you just being clever.
Very similar to Steph Curry, but not as
He's
fast.
more quick than
Yeah,
fast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. I'm with you guys. I would love for Nebraska to win. It's hard for me to make a case for them. It's one of those games that K-Say would have to have a March Madness kind of miracle game.
Yeah.
And against Houston's defense, I just don't see it happening. And outside of K-Say, I don't know if Nebraska has enough to get it done. So going with Houston.
Houston has the experience.
They do. Wisconsin, Duke. Another team.
Start with the Duke guy.
Okay. Go for it.
I'm all Duke. Out of all, I just don't think the Big Ten can hang this year. So it might kick me in the butt on my actual brackets. But I think Filipowski, I think he has to have a big tournament, especially with the spotlight kind of on him with the court storm and stuff. What did he trip someone too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's turning into the Duke anti-hero that
Yeah.
I love.
Me too, personally.
Yeah, like college basketball is better when Duke has
A fill-in.
a guy, which next year it'll be Cooper.
The guy of guys, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all just a big setup for Duke next year, I believe. But I do think they're a sneaky team this year. I think John Shire has them ready. I'm obviously gonna go Duke.
Yep. You want to go?
Sure. Wisconsin has a guy that can hang with Duke in AJ Storr. I honestly think Steven Crowell is a really tough matchup for Kyle Filipowski. He's 7 foot, averages 11 and 7, shoots 45% from 3. Like Steven Crowell is very underrated. He's one of those classic Wisconsin the big guys.
Sneaky.
But outside of them, I think Wisconsin has a tough time. Like Chucky Hepburn versus Jared McCain.
It just doesn't. It doesn't match up very
It doesn't.
well.
Max Klesmit versus whichever. Pick another Duke guard. Like I just don't see it. And I think a real X factor is I gotta find what's his first name?
I don't know.
This is where the
Mark Mitchell. Mark Mitchell, he's 6'9", like 235. He's more of an athlete than like a high-level basketball player, but he figures out ways to score. His jumper doesn't look good, but he still hits threes.
He'll be in there.
Like, Mark Mitchell is going to make it hard for Wisconsin in the paint. So I'm going Duke.
Okay. Sammy's going Duke. Brackett's going Duke. I'm going Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin.
AJ Storr has to absolutely go off for
I
them
think
to win this game.
Wisconsin is the other team that if they get out of the first round, I think they can get the momentum. This is a finals rematch from whenever that was.
Kaminsky.
All those years ago, yeah. When I had Wisconsin and they lost at the end. Disappointing.
I thought they played Kentucky.
Was it? I thought they played Duke. Either way,
I'm pretty sure it was Kentucky.
it could have been. But
was it Grayson Allen's second year?
I don't remember, to be honest. It was
I
so
don't know.
long
Yeah,
ago.
that's a long one for me.
I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say it, but I think Wisconsin's a team that could get dangerous if they keep winning or if they get out of the first round. I think they have enough offense. I think they showed it in the Big Ten.
You put the faith in Chucky Hepburn
Also,
all you want.
shouts out Grayson Allen having a great year this year with the Suns.
He's shooting it.
Really shooting it and passing it. Turned him into pretty much a point guard.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Here's a fun one. NC State and Oakland. I'll just say it right now for Sammy. He apologized to his brother Anthony. He went with Texas Tech in this matchup because he had Texas Tech. So I think in this matchup, if it was NC State Oakland, I'm sure Sammy would have taken Oakland.
Over it.
Do the Golden Grizzlies get another chance?
I love my Golden Grizzlies. But listen, DJ Horn can go for 30. DJ Burns, his big body he's just so tough to stop with his touch and his size. Now Trey Townsend and Chris Conway, they could have advantages in this one, but I think NC State has too many advantages overall. I'd have to go NC State.
Okay. Yeah, I think Oakland would. I think they would be in that situation where they're coming off too much of a high. If they beat Kentucky, and then they got to go play NC State, another really hot team.
Blake Lampman and Jack Golke also have high highs and they have low lows.
Both of these teams would be on a tear, to be honest. So it would be a fun matchup. I don't know. I think NC State has too much firepower if they've continued to win like this.
But Joey, 3 is more than 2.
Yeah.
If they're in the Cinderella story, why wouldn't they still be hitting? No, but I'll go NC State.
Okay.
They would have to shoot so lights out for both to win both of those
games.
games, it would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
It would be possibly the greatest.
Yeah.
They would need the
become the
greatest
story
run.
of March.
Yeah, they
Right.
would need the greatest run.
In our hearts, we would be picking Oakland,
Exactly.
but for bracket purposes, we're going with NC State.
You had a great run, guys.
Yeah.
You had a great
We gave
run.
you one.
And we're going to root for them no matter what.
Exactly.
So that's the point in the end.
What
Florida
time-
Marquette.
What time do they play tomorrow?
7:30, I think.
Oh, they're a night game?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I didn't look. Florida Marquette. Said it before. I don't trust Marquette.
Yeah, I'm going Florida.
Yeah. If Florida gets out of that first game and they show that they're good enough without their center, I think they have a chance to actually get farther than people expect.
I think their freshman big, Alex Condon, will kind of give them the same production.
Okay.
And he can shoot it some.
And they
Like
could-
we said, Walter Clayton and Will Richard did. They both can shoot the lights out.
They could be a great March team because of how much they score.
Yeah. So are you going with Florida too then?
I'll ride with it, yeah.
All right. Sammy went with Marquette, just for the record. But Florida going on.
I don't trust Marquette that much neither.
Yeah. Purdue and TCU.
This is where I have Purdue going down.
Okay.
I like TCU, but I don't think they're high-powered enough on offense.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to be the person. I do not trust Purdue at all.
Well, most
In-
people don't trust
Yeah.
Purdue.
just in any
I don't 100%
any
trust Purdue
game
either.
that holds some weight. Like I just don't see it.
Yeah.
The regular season bullies for sure. They beat down everyone, but haven't won the Big Ten tournament. Or did they win last year? I don't think so.
Did they?
I can't even remember, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure they lost the
Can't
Big Ten
remember.
tournament.
Who would
last
they
year.
have lost to though?
I'm going to take Purdue to win. I'm
Yeah,
taking
okay.
Purdue over TCU.
I'm going with Purdue as well. I think they get over the issues. Hey, we got it.
I
on
get it.
record.
I get it.
At least this hump,
Yeah,
I
I
think
get
they
it.
get over.
And Sammy has Purdue also moving on, but he does say that it would be at the buzzer.
Now, see, no, that doesn't make sense because if it's a 2-possession game with a minute left, Purdue's losing the game. They're not going to be able to do it. They miss free throws in
Yeah.
they can't hit a free throw in the clutch, which makes no sense because their entire team is great free throw shooters.
Yeah.
They can't inbound the ball to break a press. I'm just confused.
The most anti-Purdue.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
I understand why they have to be ranked one, but
Yeah. That's fair. No, I'm
out of all,
I think
I've
they
watched
get
a
to
lot
the
of
Sweet
Purdue in the
16.
last 2 years.
I
Yeah.
think they get to the Sweet 16.
McNeese and Kansas. Would McNeese be able to keep riding that wave?
I'm taking McNeese.
Okay.
Just because of March.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a game where not having Kevin McCullough kind of hurts.
Because then it relies on the freshmen.
Yeah.
I just think Kansas has this. Hunter Dickinson will be a problem for McNeese State.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel like Bill Self will know how to be able to get him the ball more than some other teams. I'll go with Kansas.
Yeah, I'm going with Kansas too. I think the McNeese run is over. I think, again, I just think that Kansas is going to find their depth piece in this tournament. I know that we haven't really seen it, but I just think that they're going to figure something out. And I could be totally wrong, and I wouldn't hate being wrong.
This is one I would love to be wrong because I don't like Kansas.
See, I like Kansas, but I haven't liked their recent teams, so I'd be okay with them losing. So Kansas, moving on. Sammy also picked Kansas. Now we got Oregon and Creighton.
I'm taking the Ducks.
I'm taking the Ducks too.
Yeah.
I think if they, again, they're another one of those teams. If they get the ball rolling, they get out of that first round matchup, I think they got a chance to compete with Creighton. They match up pretty well with them.
Yeah. I like Shellstad and Kusnard versus Creighton's backcourt.
Jordan?
I like Creighton, but
You're not trusting the Folly Dante in this one?
see,
Although
I think-
Creighton's big man is really good too.
Yeah, Kalkbrenner or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
Oregon's big man, he causes a lot of problems, I think,
He does.
for him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, with having a guy with another 7'5" wingspan, he won't be able to do his back to the basket moves
Yeah.
as he can just turn around and real effortlessly shoot. It's going to be, there's someone here now.
Yeah.
And it'll be harder for them to get the ball into him just because he's a great defender. So I'll go with Oregon.
Okay. flipping it.
But I do feel like Baylor Shireman could have a huge game.
Yeah, I do
against
think.
Oregon.
So like I said, I'm going with Oregon, but I do think that that's a good point. I think Creighton's bigs can actually spread the floor, which makes it harder for Oregon on defense. But I'm going with the Ducks just for. I think this could be a fun Sweet 16 run for them. Underrated all season. Again, I think this is an easier part of the bracket. Sammy did go with Creighton, but the bracket says otherwise.
I got Creighton in my personal for sure. But.
Yeah. The Rick Barnes Bowl, Texas and Tennessee.
I'm just going to trust Dalton Connect in this one.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah,
Joey,
Texas,
I'll go with your team this
Texas
time.
should be better than they are.
Mm-hmm.
They've just been decent this season.
They do have a tournament hero with our Oral Roberts guy.
Yeah,
our
Max Abmas.
7th-year senior.
He's been there.
He's had huge games in the tournament too.
Yeah. I'm going with Tennessee. I like where they're at. I think, again, if they can get going, Dalton Connect can go crazy.
Just depends who wears the orange.
Who gets to wear the orange?
We're to the Sweet 16.
Yes, we are. So let me adjust this bracket back up to the top. And we got UConn and Auburn. How are we feeling about this? Is there a chance?
I don't think Auburn's guards are good enough. Cam Spencer, Tristan Newton, Stephon Castle. I think UConn is too deep.
Auburn can't press UConn.
And
they can't create the pressure.
I think Donovan Clingan, he's 7'2". He can defend Janai Broom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going UConn.
Yeah, I'm going UConn. I think UConn's good enough coach that they're not going to have the issues with pressure or anything like that. I think they're more experienced, obviously. They're just a better team.
Yeah.
Like I hate to be that the UConn obviously is going to run through a lot of teams, but I think
they're that good.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly in agreement with you guys. I would like to see Auburn win. I think there is an outside chance that they could get it done. But at the end of the day, UConn just has so much firepower.
Yeah.
In the spirit of Rip Hamilton.
Yeah. So Sammy also had UConn, so UConn is advancing. Let's just jump over to the other side while I have it up. Houston and Duke. Does Duke keep going, Jordan?
See, this is what I was
momentum team.
I was talking to you a little bit before the podcast also. I think if Duke can get out of the first 2 games without having any problems, they have one of the easiest. Mm-hmm. To me, I think they have the easiest 1 seed besides Purdue. I think Duke causes a little bit of mismatching for them, but at the same time, Houston does have a lot of experience. I think it's on Duke, it's on Filipowski, and it's on McCain to have big games through the tournament, and I think they will. Hoping they do.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm a Duke guy, so we're going for it.
Yeah. I think Kelvin Sampson could kind of make this a chess match with John Shire. Shire still has a lot to learn.
Exactly.
I think they'll kind of force Filipowski and some of those star players to force the issue and try to win the game themselves. Meanwhile, Houston just sticks to their team basketball and good defense. This could be kind of like a low-scoring game, like in the 60s or high 50s or something. I'm going Houston.
This is where, though, I do think John Shire grows up. I think this would be his game.
This would be the one
This would be
for
his
it to happen.
breakout game.
This would be the one.
Yep. And like we were saying, I think it will be a chess match, and it won't be that we just roll the balls out and play.
Yeah, I'm going Houston.
You're in the middle now.
Yeah, this is a tough one. So I did forget to mention, Sammy had James Madison in this one.
Hmm.
He had them beating Duke.
Wow.
Duke beating the Dukes. So just as a shout out. I think I'm going to go with Duke as well. I think that Houston I don't know. Again, Kelvin Sampson has done everything right for this team. He's gotten them
first year in the Big 12.
and they win the Big 12.
They just ran
ball out.
Which is that was my argument before, is that I was like, they're in a weaker conference. I don't know if I fully believe them being that good. This year they proved me wrong. They added Cryer
Yeah.
to an already experienced team, but there's something about them that I just don't get. And I'm not saying that I love the Duke team that there is this year, but I don't know. I just think Duke is a momentum-based team. So this one is a struggle for me, but I think I'm going to go with Duke.
If Coach K was coaching this, I think I would have taken Duke. But
Yeah.
John Shire still has a lot to prove.
Mm-hmm. Sammy has Houston, so we have a tie.
Okay.
Do we just go with Jordan's team on this one? Or do you feel too strongly about Houston?
It's possible this is the one John Shire gets, but well, why not Duke? Why not? You know what? Why not?
We'll have it on record.
We can't go all 1 seeds.
Okay.
I just think, like we're saying, momentum. You never know. They could have. Duke always has the top recruiting classes. They might have a kid that comes off the bench and does something. You never know.
Right.
Filipowski is a problem, though.
Yeah. All right. Illinois, Iowa State. I'm going Iowa State. I think this is where Illinois' offense struggles in this game just because of the Iowa State defense. Illinois is not that great on defense, so they have to outscore their opponent. I think Iowa State just gives them enough frustration that they can't get past.
I'm going Iowa State also.
Okay.
Yeah, after the showing in the Big 12 tournament, I have a lot more faith in Iowa State.
Okay.
And I don't think Illinois will even be there. So
Sammy going with Iowa State as well. Jumping over to NC State and Florida. This would be a fun
awesome.
Fun matchup.
At this point, I'm riding with NC State.
Yeah,
I'm riding with the Wolfpack.
Cinderella story.
Yeah, like if their offense is really flowing, DJ Horn is scoring 20, DJ Burns is going off down low, and they're just playing good basketball. I'm rolling with the Wolfpack.
If both of these teams are in this game, it's a race to 80 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll go with NC State as well. Just
Okay.
I'm big on the momentum thing.
Yeah.
So if they're already rolling like that, and there'd be how many games in a row at that point?
Yeah.
It'd be
So like
8 or 9. Yeah.
Right.
So
A Duke NC State Elite
I was going
would
to
be
say,
awesome.
I'm going with NC
Get a-
State
yeah.
for that reason.
Get the
because
rematch.
because of our bracket and getting a rematch, I think that would be a lot of fun. So NC State will be our fun pick for this tournament, it looks like. Now we got North Carolina, Alabama. North Carolina keep going?
Yeah. This is tough. This is a tough one. Mark Sears, RJ Davis is a hell of a point guard matchup. But, yeah, North Carolina, they have, I got to look up their shooter, the dude that hit 7 threes against Duke in that game at Duke at the end of the season.
Cormac?
Yeah, Cormac Ryan.
Yes.
If he gets going, it'll be hard for Alabama to win that one. And they've got guys like Elliot Cadeau. They got other guards that can drive and score, but so does Alabama. I'll go North Carolina.
Okay.
I'll go North Carolina.
Jordan, where are you going?
give me the blue blood. Give me North Carolina.
Sammy says North Carolina. I say North Carolina. We're
Like,
starting
I'm hoping Armando Baycott might be the difference.
I think he's
And, yeah.
so consistent. Like it's unbelievable. He's an unbelievable player, and for him to be there for 5 years.
I don't think he's that good though.
No, he's not. He's
That's what I'm
not
saying.
good enough to
He
go to the
does
next
it, but
level.
yeah.
He's like Tyler Hansbrough. Like he's very similar. Like going to be a great college player, very consistent. 20-10 games all the time.
I'm not
Well,
gonna get super. I thought Tyler was even better than him, but let's
Really?
move on. Yeah, let's move on.
Tyler's better scare.
I'm gonna say we're getting close to that 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
So
Let's
Keep
keep
moving.
moving.
we're speeding it up. Purdue, Kansas, battle of big men.
Kansas.
I'm going with Kansas too. I think this would be where Zach Edey could struggle. It's a good matchup. Hunter Dickinson knows Zach Edey. I can't remember how they matched up back when he was at Michigan,
I'll
but
also go Kansas.
Is McCullough out the whole?
yes,
Yeah.
the entire tournament.
Yep.
What is wrong? What is wrong with him?
I can't remember the injury, but
Leg? Was it his leg?
Dang.
It just sounds like they're trying to be safe with him, so I don't
That's
know.
tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Kansas. I don't think. I don't think Purdue
Again,
can
I think
beat them.
Kansas would be a momentum-based team here. Sammy also going with Kansas. Here we go, our Cinderella.
Oh, we got the 2-11s?
Yeah.
Kind of wild.
New Mexico and Arizona. Do the Lobos keep going? Can we keep them going?
I think this is where it ends.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm picking Arizona.
Sammy also says Arizona no matter what.
Yeah.
I think New Mexico has a chance to do it, but yeah, this would be a scary matchup. Again, if Arizona gets momentum, I could see them winning. Jordan?
I was going to go New Mexico here
Ooh.
because I like them over Arizona more than I like Oregon over Tennessee, which is very strange, I know.
Okay.
But
So we want to take 111. Malik, do you want to do it for the culture?
I guess. New Mexico for the culture.
We
Let's
got
do
two
it.
11 seeds, NC State and New Mexico. We also have Oregon on the other side, so we're all picking Tennessee, right?
yes.
Dalton Connect.
Okay.
I'm on
Keeps
board.
it-
I'm on board with you guys.
Listen, he might lead the tournament in scoring.
And
Yeah.
I know
He might average close to
Joey's been on Tennessee all year, so
Yeah. So let's hope Rick Barnes can finally get something done.
So the Elite Eight.
Let's bounce right while we're here to go to North Carolina, New Mexico.
North Carolina.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is where the
This-
story would end for
Yeah,
them.
unfortunately.
And I hate picking one seeds all the time,
I
but
know.
they're
We only got 2 1 seeds
that's
left.
true. That's very true. And I think they're the better of the one seeds.
Yeah.
Even though UConn's definitely showed it, but
North Carolina has the guard play to keep up with New Mexico. Again, Armando Bacot just being that steady guy.
there's something about them, that just feels like they're a polished team.
Yep. Sammy has Arizona winning, getting to the Final Four.
Zona.
Kansas and Tennessee. This would be tough, I
I'm
think.
going Kansas. At
Okay.
this point, Jonas Adu is a solid center, but both Hunter Dickinson and Adams, their other 4-man, I think they're both better than what Tennessee has in big men. I think DeJuan Harris is better than Zakai Ziegler. I trust Kansas's players just more than Tennessee at this point.
Yeah. Jordan?
I trust Kansas coaching more too.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Tennessee, and I know Tennessee could do it. They look great at times, but I'm on board. If Kansas makes it this far, I think they're just rolling.
Yeah.
So I'll go with Kansas.
Sammy has Tennessee. We know where I'm at. I have Tennessee, so we're at another tiebreaker. I think both of these teams are very similar. If they get the ball rolling, if Tennessee, Rick Barnes get over that hump, Dalton Connect is firing on all cylinders, Kansas is going to have a hard time defending him. Tennessee has really good defense, but I agree Hunter Dickinson would be a matchup nightmare for Tennessee unless, Vescovi gets going again or something. I don't know if I see it.
Scovey's slow though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his.
So he would struggle. It could be one of those games where you let Hunter Dickinson do his thing and try to stop everybody else. I don't know. Does anybody have a good feeling about it to break the tie?
I'll go with Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just experience.
I don't
I
care.
just don't trust Tennessee's other guys enough.
Okay.
Jordan, I respect that. I don't care. Who cares?
That one I really am.
We'll move Kansas on. I don't have a hard time doing
Ooh,
it. It stinks.
heartbreaker.
It does stink,
What
but
do you mean? You got your Iowa State still.
yeah. So, whoops, didn't
We'll
go
keep
high
that
enough.
around for you. Except they got to.
Yeah.
Except now they got to.
UConn, Iowa State. I'm going.
We didn't pick Duke NC State.
Huh? That's what we're doing right now.
You said UConn Iowa State.
Yeah. We're on the same line.
Oh, I thought we picked that game already. I thought we picked it already. My
No,
bad.
we started from the bottom, so we're going
Okay.
back up. I'm just kind of because
Yeah.
everything's more congested now. UConn, Iowa State. Again, I'm riding with Iowa State. I think UConn has a really complex offense. They're super good. I'm just going with my heart here.
I'm going UConn, man.
Okay. Sammy
they're too good. They
Yeah.
are too good.
Sammy has UConn as well.
Yeah.
I want to take Iowa State,
Yeah.
but again, I agree with you. I just think UConn is so much better
So
than
here's
a lot of teams.
here's my two stats, and this is my only sway. And if it doesn't work,
I'll
we're
hear
done.
it. We can hear it.
We haven't seen a back-to-back champion since 2006, 2007. I'm not saying that's what we're
Shout
thinking.
out Joe Kim.
Not saying that's what
Shout
we're thinking.
out Al Horford and Corey Brewer.
But that's a thing to think in mind. The other thing, and I don't remember the exact amount of years, but in the past, let's say 5 or 6 years, there's a stat that no defending champion has made it past the Sweet 16 or to the Sweet 16, something like that,
Believe it.
which is pretty crazy. So
Yeah. I just, it's something special about what Danny Hurley is doing with this program. They seem to do everything right. Like, it started last year, but everything just clicks and makes sense
yeah,
for UConn.
You ever watch one of their practices? I've seen some clips of their practices, and it just
Yeah.
looks.
they run the most
Yeah.
complex
Yeah,
offense
I don't know how to.
in
It just
college
looks
basketball.
intense.
It's a real high-level basketball
Yeah.
program.
All right, I didn't sway anybody, so we're going UConn.
I don't know if they're already there.
Yeah. All right, the Duke NC State rematch. Does NC State knock Duke off again? Can NC State make the Final Four? Does that sound crazy?
That would be-
or crazy.
That would literally
This
be.
is
It would be
March.
old UConn. It'd be
Yeah,
Kemba.
this is March.
Yeah.
I mean,
What did we say? You said before the podcast, no 11 seed has made it to the Final Four. Or?
the
Only-
11 seed is the lowest to make the
Is it the
Final
lowest?
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
the Connecticut one. Yeah.
I don't know if they were.
Was it
It was,
UConn?
it was George Mason, Loyola, and VCU.
Was UConn a 9 seed that year?
Yes.
Yeah, they were. I
Okay.
think they were 9,
Yeah, yeah.
8 or 9.
So, can NC State somewhat make history?
No.
I think I'll agree.
I like the
think
honesty.
This is, yeah.
This would be the end of the road.
I think if
Duke
Duke
gets a rematch.
if
There's
Duke
no
beats
way.
Houston, if Duke
Yeah.
beats Houston,
They're
I
rolling.
think they're in their final form at this
Yep.
point.
Okay.
And as long as it's not UNC, I don't think a team's beaten Duke twice.
Okay. We'll take Duke. I don't have any qualms.
So
about
we
that.
had some craziness, but it's a blue blood Final Four.
Yeah.
Hey, we got mine. That's exactly my Final Four.
Is it really?
Yep.
We have
Blue blood.
this
Final
match.
Four.
This matchup
Yeah.
is one that I have. UConn and North Carolina.
That's a high level game right there.
I think the NCAA wants this too.
Yeah. Where are we going? UConn or North Carolina?
This is a game.
Yeah.
Looking at the matchups, I think there's an X factor in that matchup.
Cam Spencer.
I don't think
That's
it's Cam
my
Spencer.
reasoning. Cam Spencer is the reason I would pick UConn, and that's all I got.
You know how I forget names weekly, so I'm trying to get to UConn's roster as fast as I can
We got
to find this
Klingon.
man's name.
Klingen.
What is
Alex Caravan.
Caravan? Okay.
I think Alex Caravan is a better basketball player than Harrison Ingram. Cam Spencer and Cormac Ryan are both shooters. But Caravan, he's so consistent. He's a 40% three-point shooter. He can hit 4 or 5 threes in a blink. And Klingon can match up well with Armando Bacot. Bacot is older, but Klingon is bigger.
Bigger.
And
Way bigger.
Yeah, can hold up with him down low. I'm going UConn.
Okay. Sammy went with UConn, so UConn's moving on. But Jordan, do you have UConn or North Carolina?
This is I want North Carolina because you know the matchup that I want to see in the championship. But
I see where you're going.
UConn, I hate to pick them because I don't want to see a back-to-back.
Yeah.
But I think they are that good.
Yeah. I think if they've made it this far,
In my personal bracket, though, I am taking UNC.
yeah.
I'm taking North Carolina.
Yep. I have UConn in the final in one of my brackets. Duke and Kansas, two unlikely teams, I think, for a lot of people.
I think this is where it hurts not having Kevin McCullough. Even
Yeah.
though they've adjusted to it and they've gotten to the Final Four at this point. But Jared McCain, Jeremy Roach, all their guards can shoot. Kyle Filipowski can score in the paint or hit threes.
Need 3-level scorer.
Yeah, Mark Mitchell, he can match up with Kansas's 4. I think Duke wins.
I agree. I think Filipowski is he's a shorter, smaller Hunter Dickinson, but he's a better scorer, I think.
Yeah. He spreads the
smoother,
floor a little
yeah.
bit more, a little more athletic.
He has more moves than just a
Yeah.
three and a back to the basket turn. If they had McCullough, I think it would be a much different. I think it'd
Yeah.
be very hard for
Yeah.
Duke to win here, but I like I said, I think it's a good year for Duke to push through all the way. So I like Duke in this.
Yeah, before the Kansas news about McCullough, I had them as being a darling to possibly make it to the final.
Same.
Because I
I
think
didn't even
a
know
lot of people forgot about Kansas this year. But yeah, I think I'm in agreement. I think Duke would move on at this point. So we got a UConn-Duke final, which, not too many people I don't think have, which could be interesting, and that makes our bracket interesting as well. So we're going to go to one last send-off with Sammy, and he had UConn and Tennessee in the final, but here's his words.
UConn wins it all in Sammy's Views from the Sideline bracket. We'll eventually get that posted on our bracket site. But Sammy, thank you for your takes. We will be playing these throughout the show.
Thank you.
And good luck on your bracket.
Thank you real much. God bless you.
So that was
UConn
Sammy's.
and Stetson.
Oh, no.
You see a 16 seed taking down UConn.
Got to end it with a
I
little.
forgot
again.
I forgot it was replaying.
But Sammy is a smart man. If I do any other brackets, which I probably won't, I would pick UConn. Like I said, I think Danny Hurley is just building something special there. I think they become the first back-to-back champion since Florida, and their program is just rolling. I'm going UConn.
Whew. Jordan, how you feel about that?
Well, I'm going to go Duke just off of personal love and
On the record.
backing.
Yeah.
But if UConn does win it, if they go back-to-back, I think they are better than the Florida team. I don't want to see it, really, because I do love that Florida team. But, yeah, I'm going Duke all the way just because if you guys are going to put them there, I'm taking them.
Yeah. I'm going to go UConn as well. If they win, I think they're in the same boat as that Florida team because, the year prior, Florida had no business being even in the tournament, barely made it in, I think. And then the next year, they're consensus number one, ran it back again with all the pressure. UConn kind of the same boat, kind of came up and surprised people last year. And then now they're the consensus number one, trying to run it back.
Been dominant, too.
Yeah. Only lost a couple games. Seemed kind of fluky. I'm also with you, Jordan. I don't want a back-to-back champion. But the Views from the Sideline bracket says otherwise. The Huskies go back-to-back, which it would be pretty crazy. It's maybe the only one seed that I would like to see win. But there we go. That's our bracket for this year's tournament. And, yeah. Does anybody have any final thoughts? Anybody excited for the tournament?
I'm excited. Go Golden Grizzlies, shock the world.
Please.
It'd be amazing if they made a run.
Please.
Yeah.
But I also, Kentucky could make a good run in this tournament,
It's
too,
possible.
if it's,
Yeah.
but we're shouting out the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I have Iowa State in one of my brackets, and I have Kentucky in my other. So rooting for both of those guys, and just hoping for some first-round upsets. That's all I got to say. So with that, good luck on everybody's tournaments, and Malik and I will be back next week to update on the bracket, see how we're doing, and maybe I'll share the link in the comments to our bracket challenge for Views from the Sidelines. So if anybody wants to join, feel free. But with that being said, good night, and see you next week.